So the day I got caught, I went into the precinct. They started like clapping. They're like, we got him, we got him. And there's like multiple cells on one corridor. And I'm just seeing like all my drivers.
And what are you thinking as you're walking down the hallway?
I was screaming. I was like, yo, don't say, because they would bring people for interrogation. I'm sitting there, stressed the fuck out. They took my possessions, but they brought me back my wallet. In my wallet, I had 10 pieces of acid. So I typed all 10 pieces of acid. I had a whole strip.
All 10?
All 10. That kicked in about an hour later. And that's when they called me to the interrogation room. And I got a smile on my face. I'm tripping. They started asking me like, where did I get all my stuff? Just give somebody up. And I'm like, you, I don't give a f. They were like, you know, you're facing life. I was like, I don't give a f. Give me 25, I don't care. The district attorney is there. There's like 10 DEA agents. I was like, you idiots gave me 10 pieces of acid right now. I was in my wallet, dumbasses. That's when they just threw me back in my cell. But when I get to see the judge is like, yeah, so we're here. You're on a little bit of LSD. And I'm like, yeah.
This is Coss Marte. He was a teenage drug kingpin that made millions selling to celebrities in New York City. And today I learned the whole story about how he built his empire, what it was like being in juvie on 9/11, the time he was tripping on acid while being interrogated by the police in prison, and how he turned his entire life around to build a fitness franchise on the very same corner that he first got arrested. This is an amazing convo. So without further ado, enjoy Coss Marte. Welcome to camp. Thank you so much for joining me, bro. I appreciate it.
Nah, thank you for having me. I appreciate you, bro.
I watched the Vice doc, and it was wild. I was like intrigued immediately.
I didn't even think it was coming out. They actually sold it to like Channel 4 in the UK, and it was I recorded that like 4 years before it even came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So a lot has happened since that recording.
Yeah, there's parts of the story that I'm like so curious about just from watching it that I feel like, you know, it's only 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of stuff that probably got cut out.
Yeah. It was 3 days of recording.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you're just like, your storytelling and everything was just like so intriguing. So I just want to get into it. And I want to start with back in the DR, where your parents are from, where you were conceived, technically.
Yeah.
Your folks are both from Dominican Republic.
Yep.
And you were telling me before your dad's a beekeeper.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Yep.
And
like back then, like they didn't use suits and shit. Like he like literally had like something covering his face.
Yeah,
that was it.
He was just one with the bees.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he'll take machetes when they bite him, and like he'll have to cut off the stingers a certain angle, like just like shave it off.
Bro, Dominicans are a different breed, bro.
Yeah,
just different.
They're animals.
Dude, just shaving up their arms to get stingers out?
Yeah,
that's wild.
Crazy.
And so basically your dad saves up enough money. He is able to send your mom and you, while she's pregnant with you, to New York.
Yep.
You end up in Lower East Side.
Yep.
And the perception now, I grew up in Florida. I moved to New York recently. Yeah. Lower East Side is nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice. It's very cute. There's like a dog spa.
It's a bougie fucking.
Yeah, exactly. Right, but when you moved here, it was not the case.
Hell no.
What was Lower East Side like when you were coming up?
I mean, heroin was everywhere. Like, it was just so much needles. Every 10 steps you took, there was just a needle on the floor. Like, I remember there was one of my friends, he fell on a heroin needle and got hepatitis off of it.
Just like playing in the street?
Rollerblading. And tripped up.
That's what you get for rollerblading.
Yeah.
That's what you get for rollerblading. Yeah. Well, you shouldn't rollerblade.
Yeah. Rollerblading in the park. You know.
That was your time though. Rollerblading was hot back in the day.
Yeah, hell yeah. I loved rollerblading.
Did you rollerblade as a kid?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, I loved it. The Solomons.
Were you able to like hit the rails and stuff?
I was not a good grind. I was doing half pipes, but I was.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Oh, sick. But you never got the heroin needle.
No, thank God.
You were just dodging, bobbing and weaving through needles.
But no, there was like blocks where like you'll see 100 people, like 2 blocks long of heroin addicts,
just
like
nodding out.
No, waiting to buy heroin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and sometimes it would be like these metal doors, and they would just stick the money through it, and like they get the shit, you know,
and just push it out through the like apartments.
Boom. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. And so you came up seeing all that.
Yeah.
And was your mom like, was she telling you like, yo, stay away from it? Or was she busy with her work and kind of let you
My mom thought like drugs was, she still thinks like weed kills people. Like she thinks it's the devil, you know, and like.
Is she religious?
Super religious, like, you know, like, and not super religious, but she's religious, you know.
Took you to
like,
church growing up, like the whole deal.
She tried, and I used to like fight and not want to go, and you know.
And so, and you have how many siblings?
Well, 4 of us from my parents, and then my dad. You know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so, how many were living in the spot on the Lower East Side?
4 of us. Yeah.
All in the house.
All in a tenement apartment.
Just like a small,
sleeping head to toe, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were going to school in the area.
Same area, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so you're coming up, and all of a sudden you see people like selling heroin, selling drugs.
It was family members that were doing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Folks like, you knew of, like cousins and stuff?
In the same floor, in my same building, you know? So like I grew up in the 5th floor. My mom still lives in the same building, same apartment, rent control. She's probably paying $700 for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Oh, really?
Right
She's
now.
still in the same spot?
Yeah, same, never gonna leave.
That's sick.
And if that's like generational wealth, right? Like
yeah, New York.
Fucking,
The other people not from New York don't understand, like, yo, that is the hookup of hookups.
Hell yeah. And back then, like, they were offering people money to leave. But anyway, long story short, like, my cousins we had the whole 5th floor. So there was 5 apartments there, and then we had family on the 6th, the 4th. So we grew up just going from apartment to fire skates to hanging in the rooftops all day.
Roaming free.
All day.
Yeah.
Like, my playpen was literally the fire skate. Like, my mom used to put me, and I used to pee on people from the fire skate. And that's what we did.
Just putting toys up there, just like, yo, be free.
Yeah.
This is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, no, like, get the fuck away from me. Go to the fire skate. I'm like, all right.
And so you're like, you have family members that start kind of getting involved and just doing like little flips here and there.
Yeah, most of my cousins that I grew up with were older, maybe like 5-6 years older. So they were out already in the street, and they were rocking chains. They already, you know, they were living that lifestyle that I thought was success.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you mentioned in your TED Talk, you were like, my goal as a kid, without really any means, be rich.
Absolutely.
That was like the end all, especially because you see all your family members like rocking chains. They got watches, they got the sneakers,
and I'm broke.
Yeah,
like I might have got a hand-me-down. You know, I was wearing like my sister's shit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
were you getting picked on and stuff?
There's been times that I was made fun of, but I was not getting bullied.
Right.
You know.
Did you have to fight at all, like growing up?
Yeah. I mean, fighting was that was inevitable. You know.
And that was just like kid shit, like at school.
Yeah, school, kids, and then just like running with cliques and shit like that.
And then did you start as like a lookout?
No, I started, so the way I started selling drugs was weed. It was a supply and demand. I was 11 years old smoking, and like I'm going to junior high, and like kids used to call me Smokey the Bear because I was always fucking high. And
your cousins were like, yo, hit this. And you were like, all right,
well, my cousin was the one that like, well, he was like, yo, you want to smoke? And I was like, hell yeah. And then like, I didn't really know how to smoke, but then I started smoking, and then I became like really addicted to smoking. Yeah. And all the kids in my school were like, see me with red eye. I used to joke. I used to come with weed and all that shit. And so they wanted to smoke, and, you know, other kids were smoking. So we were all, I'd be like 6 people on a nickel bag, you know, so everybody would give me $1, and I would go to my cousin and be like, yo, I need a nickel bag, let me get it. I'll pay for, back then, you could buy a Philly for $0.25. So I'll go to the local bodega, buy a Philly, you know, be the only one that's pretty much knows how to roll, so I would roll, smoke, and it became like I was that middleman, and I'm like, fuck it, at 13, I bought my first ounce of weed, and made almost $300 off of it.
Like in what time span? Like a week?
It took me about a week.
Yeah. So going from nothing, all of a sudden $300 is like, all right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a lot.
And then you start buying like little things.
Yeah, I was buying more weed. Yeah, I'm wearing sneakers now. You know, like I'm just continue that hustle, and then I went from like an ounce to quarter pound to half a pound to a pound to multiple pounds.
But mostly just the kids at school.
No, and people in the neighborhood.
Gotcha.
And so I was like hustling in the corner, or I'm in the park or whatever, and then I had my beeper. I'm giving out people my, you know, we used to like rip pieces of paper out and just like, yo, beat me, boom.
And this is at like still 13, 14?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And 14 was the first time I really touched coke. like sold coke, and that was also a supply and demand. I was hanging out on the corner with like the coke dealer a lot, and this guy comes up and he's like, "Oh, where's Kev?" And I was like, "Oh, he's gonna come back." And he's like, "Nah, I gotta go. I need a couple bags." He, "Okay, you got it?" And I was like, Nah, he's coming back. And he was like, I'm out. I was like, "Oh, hold up, let me get the bread. I'll go get it for you." So I went down the block, bought it, made a little profit, and I was like, all right, I think I could do this shit too.
And then all of a sudden you realize the margins
were way better.
And the amount you got to carry is like nothing.
Yeah, and it doesn't smell.
Yeah. So you're all of a sudden like, yo, this is a superior product. This is like the businessman in you.
Well, I never stopped selling weed. Like weed and coke was like always.
And you were pushing both at the same time.
Yeah, always.
Gotcha. And then you would stash like at your parents' crib?
Yeah, the building, my parents' crib, you know.
Just wherever.
Ever.
And then you had family and cousins on the floor that would have stuff. So if you needed stuff, you could just go run it from them.
Yeah, but I wouldn't fully trust all of them.
Oh, really? What do you mean?
Some of them became users and stuff like that. So, you know, there was times where like my stash went missing, you know, because I have now my cousin's an addict.
Gotcha.
Know?
And so does your mom know about any of this at this point?
My mom found out I was selling weed when I got locked up for weed at 13. And I was with my little brother at the time, and we were walking in the park, and I sold a couple bags of a nickel bags to my boy, and we started smoking and got locked up, and then she got a call from the precinct.
Gotcha.
And that was over.
Yeah.
You know? And I got home, and she was like, "You doing that?" And she was, you know.
Yeah, she was not
screaming,
happy.
crazy,
not happy.
Crazy.
And that was
my dad was way more cooler about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was his energy?
He was like, if you're gonna do it, just do it, and you know, do it in the fire escape. You know, don't go outside, don't hang out in the corner. You know, do blah blah blah. They just thought I was smoking. They didn't think I was making money off of it.
Yeah, of course.
And but my dad, he lived through it. Like he saw. So my dad got my mom over here, but he been in New York like early 80s. You know, when like it was bad. He worked in a bodega, went back to DR, helped my mom. So he's back and forth, and his best friend got deported for like selling kilos out of the bodega that he was working with. So I know he was like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And he understands the game. He
did some shit, you know.
Yeah, of course. So he's not as shocked.
Never got caught.
He's not as shocked by this.
Yeah.
Got you. And so that first time that you get jammed up, just like a cop basically just like saw you guys smoking, was like.
No, it was actually detectives. Like they were like TNT Squad. So
what's TNT Squad?
Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's when like there was like drug task enforcement's coming out and like doing sweeps.
Gotcha.
And they would put you in a paddy wagon. So they would have like the paddy wagon would just roam around the neighborhood, and you know, Tuesdays and Thursdays they were coming out, and they would and you're staying in that paddy wagon until they're picking up more people. Oh,
so literally it's just like, so you know the people jumping in the car.
You're like oh fuck, they got you too, bro. Like damn, that shit is crazy. And you're with cuffs and.
And so what are you thinking when you're sitting in the back of this paddy wagon, all these kids from the neighborhood are getting locked up, and you're just like, fuck.
I was not scared. I don't know. I was just like, I know I'm young. I'm gonna get the fuck out. Like, right. You know, I got caught with 2 bags of weed. Like, you know, and they let me go out of the precinct.
And you were with your little brother?
My brother, they brought home. Okay. I was literally across the street.
You're right.
So.
And was he scared?
He started crying. He started fucking crying. Like, right. So the whole story is like I was walking with my little brother and my little cousin. Actually, my little brother was 9, my other cousin was 8, and I was basically got a beep at home, called the number. I was like, yo, yeah, I want to go to the park. I went and I met up with my boy Chuck, and we rolled it up, started smoking. And I'm walking with the blunt in my hand, and they grabbed my arm. They threw me on the ground. They cuffed me. And Chuck tried to get away. He kept walking, but they grabbed him up. And Chuck was 14, I was 13. And they took both of us. And so my brother at that time started crying hysterically. And he had a Dare shirt on. and he had a starter jacket, one of those old school starter jackets, and he opens up his shirt and he's like, "Don't take my brother, I'm part of the DARE program, please." And we crack jokes about it all the time because he was hysterical. My brother's actually a city council member for downtown Manhattan now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. DARE program worked.
Yeah.
That's what it is, bro.
Well, that incident worked because that shit scared him straight, and me, it didn't work. But.
No. Oh, that's wild, bro. The DARE program shirt while you're actually on the corner is so funny. And I'm curious, like, were you not worried about, like, because if you're on the corner selling drugs, the thing you got to worry about more than the cops probably, especially in that time, is just like other drug dealers just like running you, just like robbing your shit. So like, how did you protect yourself from other people taking it?
Weed was not an issue. Like, it was like I grew up in the neighborhood, like everybody, my family was there, like that was not an issue. Coke was the issue. Like if you ran a Coke block or heroin block, you couldn't sell on that corner. So I've had fights for like hustling on one corner because my corner was 2 blocks away, you know? And that was an issue.
Did you ever stay protected? Like have like a little knife or like anything like that?
I've had guns and knives, all that shit.
Right.
You know,
but
like,
were you doing that at like before your first little?
My first gun I had was 14.
Oh, got you. And that was when you switched to
38
Coke?
revolver, Smith & Wesson. Yeah.
Wild. And you got that just from like family member that was like?
A friend.
Got you.
Yeah.
And that was when you were doing Coke or when you were selling Coke?
When I was selling, yeah. Got
you. And so you do like the little juvie thing, nothing really happens, like?
Yeah, I mean, I got caught up. So I did 2 months in juvie, and then I also they gave me an opportunity to do a program. All in total was a little bit over a year. And I actually learned how to cook crack while I was there.
In juvie?
Yeah, well, when they mandated me to the program, and from juvie to the program, that helped me get out early. And there was like escort visits. So one of the kids that was there, basically, I had an escort to Red Hook Projects, and he was the only Chinese kid in Red Hook. Like Red Hook Projects now is still fucked up, but it was fucked up over there. Like like gangs were like crazy. You're hearing gunshots every night. Like shit was wild. And so we get to his spot. And he was like involved with the Bloods and all this shit. And so he's like, "Yo, well, let's go see my boy." We go to another apartment and they're cooking crack over there. And so he was like, "Yo, you know how to cook? You can help me?" And like, "Yo, pass me the baking soda." Like, boom, boom, boom. And like right there, I'm like,
that's wild.
Yeah, I learned how to cook crack.
And so what is the escort program? Like, what is that even for?
Well, it was like towards the end of your release, you could get somebody to come with you for a home visit for the weekend. And so that was like a home visit that we got, you know. And so you get like maybe 5 home visits the whole time you're there, but like you get it towards the end of your release. Got you.
And this was a Chinese kid that was like affiliated.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of unique.
Yeah. Well, he grew up in the projects.
Right.
He grew up there. He sold crack for them. Like,
do you still keep in touch with him?
I haven't spoken. This is 2002.
Whoa.
21 years ago.
So then that's where you learn it. So then now you're not in school. Like, what is juvie even like?
It's gladiator school.
Really?
Know? You just got to get ready to fight. Like, I fought every day.
And so what's the deal? Is it like cells? Are you like in?
Yeah, you in like rooms, little cells, basically.
Oh, shit.
You got a bed.
And this is all other like kids, like 12 to 15.
Or is it, or if it's or if you're in Rikers Island, it's open. Like I've been in both sides, but open door rooms where you have just beds side by side, and there's like 60 kids, you know. And
then what are you even doing there? Like, are they doing school still?
If you don't have a GED, you going to school.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're trying to get, you know, your GED.
Gotcha.
But there's not really school. Like you're going in there and it's just like people are just fucking around.
Yeah,
you know?
Literally just like kids locked in a room that all have like a criminal record.
And just it's all like gangs. Like it's right. And I was never part of a gang, so that was always a problem with me. Like, and
Did you fit in with like other Dominicans or like other people from your block?
Like, so it's very segregated, like blacks with the blacks, but like not even blacks with the blacks, because you got separate gangs in blacks, and then you have like separate gangs with Latino, but like the Latino like have like their own thing. And I hung out with a lot of black people. Like my bunkie was black, you know, and like we kicked it all the time. And I got offered to be in a gang, and I was like, how much are you gonna pay me? And they were laughing, and I'm like, no, I don't do shit for free.
Yo, for real?
Yeah.
At 14?
No, this was when I was a little bit older, but
I mean, just having like the savvy to be like, oh, you want me? Like, I'm gonna bring a lot.
Yeah.
Like, how much are you gonna pay me?
Yeah, I'm not gonna work for free. I'm not gonna go stab somebody.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that's what usually happened, was like they'll send people that want to rise up, or they're a soldier, and you send them on the dummy mission, and they're cutting, stabbing, they're fucking people up.
Yeah.
Just for rep.
Yeah, what was that shit? It was more popular in New York back in the day, like probably around that time. But I forget what it was. It was like a punch and slash or some shit, where like you would literally just like
knockout.
Yeah, knockout game.
Yeah.
And like basically you got like young kids that literally just have to like swing on someone.
Yeah.
And then someone would have to see it.
Yeah.
And then that's okay.
Knockout.
You can rise up.
Yeah.
That's great. But you didn't fuck with any of that.
No.
Got you. And so you get out of juvie, and then you got to go back to school again.
Yep.
And now you're like, now your whole perception of school, I feel like, is probably completely different.
Man, I always did well in school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, always did well in school. Like I knew my times tables before first grade, you know.
Gotcha.
Like so my mom was a teacher in the Dominican Republic, and she always like enforced school on us, but I was just like, this is a fucking waste of time for me.
Yeah. But you're just like a smart dude, so like school up until a certain point is pretty easy.
Yeah.
You can just kind of go and get your homework done in 20 minutes.
I got my high school diploma, and I graduated on time.
Oh, cool.
I sold drugs.
Even with like juvie, even with selling drugs the whole time. So then you get back out, and then immediately back to the corner?
So I get back out. I go to public school. I go to Sewell Park. Sewell Park is like, it had, at that time, in 2002, it was the highest dropout rate of any public school in the city. My graduating class was supposed to be 500 kids, and it was me and 66 Asians.
Bro.
And I'm talking about my whole school was like black and Latino. And
that's
like,
wild.
Only the Asians and me graduated.
Bro, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
Wow. So every other name is just like Korean, Chinese name, and then Coss Marte.
Yeah.
And you walk.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
I went to school because I saw like all my clientele was in school.
Right.
Like I came home with the mentality, I'm like, I'm going to hustle. I'm going to not get caught, you know, and I'm going to sell weed again.
Yeah.
And so I had two of my friends running the hallways. I'm like, I had the Nextels in class, like telling people like, yo, go here, go there.
In class?
In class.
Bro.
And like we had different floors where like, you know, so I was already operating something crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. But you just have like a business mind, I feel like. Like, is that fair to say? Like you just see things, I feel like, in business terms.
I think I'm just not a person, I guess, that procrastinates, you know, and I see every opportunity every time as an opportunity to make money.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not gonna, not today is different, but like, you know, that's how I saw everything.
Yeah, exactly. And then now the money's coming in and you're doing weed and coke. And are you like using coke at all at this point?
Nope.
You never touched it?
No.
Really?
No.
And why? Like if you're smoking weed, why would you never?
I just saw family members and people in my neighborhood like ready to get messed up.
Yeah.
You know? And then I was selling crack too. So after high school, around that time, like actually before, like while I was in high school, I started selling crack.
And who taught you how to like cut the coke?
A friend of mine.
Gotcha.
But we didn't like, when I was operating a big business, I didn't cut the coke. Everything was raw.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
It was like straight off they package it in like fucking like this brown bag and, you know, plastic wrap, and it's like.
And you were getting supplied from like Colombian dudes in New York or something?
No, I was coming straight from overseas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
And you were corresponding with them to actually get product?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you just got the connects just through people that you knew?
My partner,
Gotcha.
basically.
Oh, that's wild. And so, and they just drop it off like FedEx, like DHL packages and shit?
There was times that happened. There was times where they were sending kids that were like 14, 15-year-old on the plane with
Whoa.
it, you know? Back then, you didn't have like the bio whatever machine that you walk through the airport. It was
exactly.
like, you clear the mag, you're good.
Bro.
So they were, every kid, they would send like 4 or 5 kids together with a half a brick of Coke in their underwear each. You know?
And this is like 2003-ish, 2004?
This is 04, 05.
This is actually a random question, not even related to this shit. You were in New York during like 9/11.
I was locked up.
Really?
In juvie.
What did you think? Like, you heard about it? You were just like...
It was fucking crazy. It was crazy in there.
Because where was the juvie center?
That's when I got referred to Rhinebeck, New York.
Got you. So you're out of the city.
Yeah.
But everyone you know is like...
Yeah. And where the phones are shut down, everybody's calling, everybody's like wilding up there. I was actually in class up there, and the teachers that was in our class, his wife was in one of the towers.
Bro.
My neighbor in my building that lived right under me, she was in the tower. She passed away. And my sister was working downtown and like came home like all powdered up, you know.
That's insane. And you have no contact. You can't even...
The phones were not working.
Do nothing about it.
Yeah, and then there's this couple hundred, you know, people, and there's only a couple phones.
Right.
You know?
And everyone else has family that's in the city too.
Yeah.
Bro. That sounds crazy stressful.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, that sucks.
And we were in a room watching this shit in the fucking TV, I remember, like, and we saw the first hit, and then they put us in we saw the second hit. So they put us in a room. They were like, oh shit, one of the towers. We're watching, I think it was like CNN at the time. And then while we were watching the second one, and we're like, oh,
fuck.
It was crazy.
Because it's like wartime. Like, like you're probably watching it being like, oh, we're going to war. Like this is...
I had no concept at that time. I was 16 years old. You know, I didn't think like, you know, I was like, I didn't think it was a terrorist attack.
Right.
You know, we just thought it was like, what the fuck?
An accident or some shit.
Yeah.
Bro, that's crazy. So then, back to the story. You graduate, now you're like moving more product. You're on the same corner still. You don't ever move around.
Well, I moved around, you know, like I was on a bicycle, you know, moving around and doing deliveries sometimes if people beeped me or called me or stuff like that. But I was on the corner.
Yeah. And then at what point did you meet your partner and then actually like start doing deliveries?
So my partner and we met, I mean, we knew each other for a very long time before that. But we met and became partners after he came up to me and was like, yo, I need some work. And so I gave him my work. He went, sold it, came back an hour later. He was like, yo, I need more. Gave him, came back, sold it. And I was like, and he was like, yo, what's up? What can I get more? What can I get? And I'm like, yo, I don't got no more, motherfucker. You just ran out. And so we were like, yo, let's go uptown and buy something, you know? And so we called our connect that I had, and we put both our money together. We split it. And then it was just like, there was no, we're gonna write a contract.
Yeah,
and,
handshake.
You know,
it's just,
there was no handshake. It was like, I trust you. Like, we grew up together. Like, you know, we're doing this together.
Right. And you can see that he was hustling, that he wasn't like hooked on product. He was just trying to like make money.
Oh, yeah.
And you were the same way. So it was like perfect.
I mean, I've never seen or met anybody with the same hustle mentality that I had. And he was smarter than me. And more intellectual, but way more riskier, which made him dumber.
Interesting.
In a sense.
It balanced out his intelligence.
Yeah.
That he was like, yo, I'm just gonna take these kilos, like ride around, just like bike in the city with cash on them. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Or like rock mint coats and fucking ride around in a Fleetwood Cadillac with pearl white seats with 22-inch gold rims and the loudest system down Times Square and playing porno.
Yeah.
On DVDs with all the TVs and the fucking cars just screaming with the windows down. Shit like that,
Bro.
you know, with drugs on us.
Yeah, exactly. Just attention, just like,
Yeah.
yo, look at us, look at. But were you flashy like that? Were you flexing the same way?
I was flashy, but he was way more flashy than me.
Yeah. I mean, he liked the lifestyle. Like,
We all loved the lifestyle. He was just like, you know, we all went to the stores and bought shit, but like he was just like always, you know, going crazy.
yeah. And then you mentioned like the turning point, like the reason why you got really successful in a time where maybe some other people on the block might not have been, is like business cards, and started selling to white people.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So we were like writing our numbers in pieces of paper and like giving it to. So how it happened, I had a clientele base before he came in, with like a lot of crackheads and a couple like white, like Natasha Lyon, from like Orange is the New Black with the frizzy big hair. Like she was one of my main clients.
Really?
Like she brought Paris Hilton over to buy shit from us. Like I've sold to like a lot of people like that, but like this was before me and my partner were operating. So I had people that were hitting me up, and it all popped off because this club called Happy Endings was actually like a weed lounge now. And I went in there the other day. I'm like, man, I used to sit right here and fucking get like, serve coke.
That's
right
hilarious.
off the fucking lounge here. Anyway, so that club turned crazy. Like it was like straight hipsterville. Like Tuesday nights it was weird because we'll have like a whole bunch of hipsters come in with fucking bicycles, and they will park their bike, and we like our crackheads used to steal their bike and then sell it to us. It was fucking nuts. Like one time we had like literally like 50 mountain bikes in the backyard, like, and didn't know what the fuck to do with it. Anyway, so yeah, we in Happy Endings. The bar, we get cool with the bouncer. The bouncer is like sniffing coke too, so we would give him a couple bags. He would like refer people to us, and it would just become like, you know.
And you were actually pushing out of the lounge itself.
At one point, yeah, like because the corner that we had was Eldridge and Broome, so we're like literally half a corner away,
right?
And so we were the corner boys, and so now we're like, and then once we got cool with the owner, now we're fucking in there hustling. And then the business cards came about because we were like writing shit on piece of papers and stuff like that. And then our friend, she worked at Kinko's at the time, and she lived on the block. She used to hang out with us, and I don't know, like Joey, my partner at the time, like he might have told her like, yo, or somebody. We had a conversation about cards, and then she was like, I could make cards at Kinko's. And so we made Happy Ending cards. So it was all black, white letters, 3 phone numbers on it, and shit fucking blew up. We ordered 5,000 cards. We gave it out to everybody.
Wow.
that was white, that would look like they had money, and that looked like it was sniffing coke or smoking weed.
Hey guys, we're gonna take a break real quick because I gotta tell you about my friends at Morgan & Morgan. And I say my friends because I literally know these people personally. Yeah, I grew up in Central Florida, 407. Orlando till I die. And I grew up not too far from the Morgan family. Great people. Started as a small little law firm in Central Florida. And because of their great service and simplicity for submitting a claim, they grew to be one of the largest personal injury law firms in the country. Let me rephrase that, the largest. Yeah, I'm talking about over 100 offices and more than 800 lawyers nationwide. The largest personal injury law firm in the country. And they're that big because they do great service. This is what makes them amazing. In less than 8 clicks, if you go to their website, you can submit a claim if you wanted to. That's how easy it is. You could submit a claim in 8 clicks or less. Submitting a claim is actually easier than like ordering food off Uber Eats or like trying to buy something on the internet. It's that simple to submit a claim if you wanted to. The other crazy thing, they don't charge you unless they win your case. That's right. That's amazing. That's a good deal. And I would know this because these guys are Central Florida legends. 407 heroes. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless you win. For more information, you can go to forthepeople.com/Gagnon. That's correct. forthepeople.com/Gagnon, or dial #law. That's #529 from your cell phone. That's For the People, FOR, thepeople.com/Gagnon or pound law, pound 529. If you're ever injured, you can submit a claim in less than 8 clicks. Let's get back to the show. So like you grow up in like a Dominican neighborhood in the Lower East Side, and all of a sudden there's like these like hipster white bars that show up.
Yep.
And you're already on the corner.
Yep.
And these white kids want to do coke and they got money and they're trying to party.
Yep.
And you're like, I'm already here.
Yeah, we always like entice them like, hey buddy, do you smoke? And so like we open that door, like marijuana is a gateway drug.
Yeah, DARE program, let's go.
And so we like entice them, hey buddy, you want to smoke with us? And like, you know, we'll be always, me and my boys smoked 50 blunts every single day, like 2 packs of cigarettes every day.
Just chiefing in the lounge.
No, just on the block.
On the block.
Yeah, all the time. We just didn't stop smoking. But we would be outside and they would come out, smoke cigarettes and be like, boom, boom, boom. And then we'd be like, hey, we have a 24-hour delivery service. If you want to use us, call us, blah, blah, blah. And shit just fucking went wildfire. Like it blew up.
I mean, that whole delivery system now in New York is very common.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you got Seamless, you got Uber Eats, you got Drizzly, you can get anything delivered at any time, your groceries, whatever.
Yeah.
But you were doing it at a time where like delivery isn't really a thing.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you were probably delivering was Domino's, right? Like you couldn't even order from a restaurant.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it'd be like, you got to come pick it up.
Yeah.
But you were like, yo, I'll come to you.
Yeah.
Now, that seems really risky. Like in terms of like the drug game, like you have your number attached to a card. Obviously, there's nothing on the card, but like there's now like a paper trail, literally.
Oh, yeah.
And were people telling you like, bro, this is stupid, don't do this?
Yeah, people thought we were crazy.
Yeah.
But we didn't even get caught like that because of that. Like, you know, we would, and all the numbers that we were getting, like we wouldn't even save them by their names most of the time. Most of the time it would be like what building number you're in. Because we would go and we would put like the building number. So like right away, like when the phone rang, we knew like 305 West 26th Street, like is calling. I'm hitting up like, yo, 305 West 26, copy. All right, give me 10 minutes, boom, boom. You're there. And so we had the whole dispatching set up, and then we had business suits on, and that came about because I got locked up. I got locked up in the projects, and I was fighting a case, and while I'm going to court, I was wearing a business suit. And like me and Joey staying up all night fucking selling drugs while I'm going to court for drugs. And he would pick me up out of the car, be like, yo, come pick me up. So he'd pick me up, we'll get in the car. And I was just like way more incognito. Like I would step out of the car and nobody would look at me.
Yeah, of course.
You know? And so I was like, yo, we got to dress nice, bro. We should start dressing like this. And, yeah, we went to like Ralph Lauren, got fitted out and all that shit.
I mean, it's the opposite of standing out. Like this is like the opposite of like the drug dealer game. Like, yo, I'm not wearing the mink coats. I'm wearing a suit.
Yeah, we stopped like our Cadillac broke down because we're like rocking 22-inch fucking rims and like potholes, and we're like driving 30.
It's lowered or some
like
shit.
100 miles per hour to get to a client and driving on sidewalks and shit.
That's hilarious.
Seriously, like we drove on sidewalks all the time.
Just popping around.
Because we're not waiting for traffic.
Yeah.
I had 27 points on my license.
No. Yeah. Still?
No, I had to pay like 10 grand to get it back, but
you were just getting tickets all the time.
I just didn't give a fuck.
Cops pulling you over in the car with product?
With product. Yeah.
But
I'm taking red lights. I'm doing everything to make sure I have the best customer service.
Right. In the name of customer service.
Yeah.
And were you like, what would happen? You get pulled over. You're like, if he searches the car right now, I'm fucked.
No, we would usually have the drugs on us, in our underwear or cheeks, or we had the best stash in that Cadillac Fleetwood. Like, so the horn, when we bought it, it was I don't know if you remember the Dub magazines.
Oh yeah.
Like you know, like it was one of the cars in the Dub magazine.
Oh really?
And so we had when we bought it, like we hit the horn after maybe like a week, and like it didn't work. And it was like pop, 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 like it just didn't work. But it was like a cap on it, so we opened up the cap, and it was like you could stick your fucking like
arm in
whole
there.
thing, like
Yeah.
you're fisting somebody. And so that was the best stash they would never think about.
Throw a key in there and you're good.
Exactly.
Oh, that's crazy. And so what was the situation where you were dropping drugs off the building?
Oh, that was before, like, me selling crack and coke on the block and weed, you know, like me. So, like, before the delivery service, I was with my boy in Atlanta a couple of days ago, and I was obsessed with money, and I was obsessed with not wasting time, and I used to stay up 3 days, 4 or 5 days at a time, like because I didn't want to miss a dollar. Because if I would step off the corner, I would miss somebody coming, and it was just like back to back, back to back. It was just crazy. And so my boy Spanish, he used to be on the roof. We knew all the cab undercovers. So the undercovers at that time in 7th precinct, 5th precinct, they had these yellow cabs that were undercovers, 2W64. Like we knew these numbers off the top and the license plate. And the license plate was different from it. So a yellow cab has to match the top of it and the plate. And if it's mismatched, then that's a cop. And so he would be a lookout from the roof. And so we would tell people, like, you know, come, yo, the boys are coming, or I would collect the money downstairs. I'll be like, yo, just turn around the corner and somebody's throwing that off the roof or throwing that out of an apartment.
Whoa.
So I had a whole, like, all my boys were just operating with me. It was crazy.
And the thought process with that is actually pretty smart. Like, yo, there's deniability.
Yeah, there's no hand-to-hand transaction.
Which is actually, like, kind of smart if you think about it. Like, it's sort of obvious, but it's like it's a little harder. It puts a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably maybe take it to trial and beat it.
Right?
Yeah, you don't got evidence. He wanted to give me money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then he found coke somewhere. Like, I had nothing to do with
that.
Shit
Flew up the sky. God did.
That's crazy, bro. And so, okay, so now you're doing delivery though, which is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So like the throwing it off the building is actually not a bad move, but now you're actually like having people dispatching, but you're not doing the deliveries anymore once you're in the suit.
Yeah. Well, at one point, yeah, but then we basically just became dispatchers, and then we hired dispatchers to operate it.
And you're hiring people just like, you know, from the block.
Yeah, people that we grew up with, people that were hanging out with us all the time. So like my boy, my partner at the time was super aggressive about like not wasting time, and like we used to see our friends just like hanging on the corner 24 hours a day smoking weed, and we're like, and he will get aggressive with them, like, what the fuck you doing on the fucking block? You ain't doing shit, you ain't getting money, you need fucking money, blah blah blah. We over here wasting, we don't got fucking time to waste, you know, we gotta get this bread. And so literally screaming at people. And I used to just be dying. And so he would convince them to sell drugs.
Whoa. And so now that like you're doing coke and crack, or like pushing coke and crack, how are you not afraid of other people like robbing you at that point? Like, how do you prevent the violence?
I mean, I had guns, like when I was sitting on a corner, when I started the delivery system, it just like, there was no violence. Like I'm dealing with a whole set of new clientele. Right. I don't gotta hang out in the corner no more.
Right.
But when I was sitting on the corner, like I had my gun in the mailbox, you know, and you know, if anything went down.
Mm-hmm. Did it ever go down?
Not really. When we had our delivery service, it went down. One time, somebody knew where our stash house was, and they. One of my guys like left the apartment, got a gun put up to his head. They made him knock on the door. They tied everybody up. And what was crazy is we had like, when they went in, it was 3 guys that robbed them. They stole all the weed, and there was about a half a kilo of coke on the table, bagged up, and they didn't even touch it. Why? I guess they didn't even notice it.
Whoa.
That because the weed was just so much.
Yeah, you smell it, you find it.
Yeah, and
that's
took
crazy.
$1,000.
Yeah, and at that point, what was a kilo going for?
20, like in New York streets, 22, 23.
Yeah.
You know.
And then at this point, now you're doing delivery, and you're still doing everything pure. You're not like cutting it up.
Nothing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So everyone's calling you back.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
You got the best shit.
Yeah.
And if it comes
Straight
in,
off the boat.
did you have the bags like custom at that point?
No, custom was so right after. So I got so many. Yeah, every day was a fucking movie for me. You know, because
I want all the details. I don't want to skip over parts.
Yeah, no. So after high school, I went to college. So I got accepted to college, and that's when I like started dealing. I didn't go with the intentions to go sell drugs at college. Like I went over there to like, all right, let me see if I could go to college, you know. And so I got accepted to University of Albany. This is 2003, and it was the I don't know if you remember like the MTV fraternity reality shows back then.
Yeah.
It was like the
what was the name of that? Like they would go in and show all the frats and stuff.
Yeah. But we had the #1 school in the fucking country, so and MTV was there, and it was just party like crazy. But first day I get to college, I have a roommate. I met my roommate. He's from Puerto Rican kid from Flushing, Queens, and he's like, "Yo, man, I wish I had some weed." Blah blah blah. I had an ounce of weed on me.
Yeah, personal stash.
Yeah. I was still hustling, but like I just had it, you know. And so I was like, I got some if you want. I had some haze, and so he was like, "Yo, you got more?" So he bought more, and then he told his friend that came to that college too. They bought some, and it was like I'm back into I'm back into the game when I was, you know, it just followed me around. And then that first week, somebody asked me for coke, and I was like, I went back to the city. We threw a crazy party in my room, and one of the kids there got caught. The cops raided us. They found like 500 bags of 500 beer cans, and they took this kid in, this Korean kid. He was sniffing coke off the. We actually tempted him to fucking sniff a line of coke from one side of the desk, like this fucking table. Like he just sniffed it all the way across,
like a 2-footer.
Yeah, like big shit. Yeah, and he killed it. And we were like, oh, crazy. But we made so much noise that the cops came. Then they found like coke in his fucking shit. And anyway, they take him in. Now I'm like the coke guy. Like I stopped going to school. I'm like sitting in my room. I'm just getting fucking knocks on the door, knocks on the room 1301. Like
out of the dorm.
Out of the dorm.
Whoa.
And so this shit was fucking nonstop.
Yeah.
And then these girls come in, they buy a bag of coke, a couple bags of coke. They go to their room, they bought weed off of me, they start smoking. The cops raided them, and they found these Superman bags in their trash can. So they took them in for that. When they went in, they told them everything. Like, yeah, Coss is bringing all this stuff. They already knew because the Asian kid that got caught that
also
first week, they already started an investigation on me. And so when they were like, "Oh, you got these coke bags from Coss, right?" And they were like, "Yeah, he's bringing all this stuff to the college and all this shit and blah, blah."
I'm in the DARE program.
Oh my God. And so fucking one of the girls, they left her phone with her, and she's in a cell. And so she contacts me and says like, "Yo, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "What the fuck is you talking about?" "I'm so sorry. The cops are gonna go raid you right now. They know everything." I'm like, "What the fuck is you talking about?" And they're like, "We're in the precinct, and they took," and she's like stuttering, and I'm like, "Oh shit, I got mad fucking work." Like, so I take all the shit, I stash it in the car, and they come. This is the day of my birthday, and so like, it's cleared. I had like a couple girls in the room where they were singing me happy birthday. I had a cake. We were fucking listening to LimeWire.
Yeah, hilarious.
And so they fucking raided the room, and I was like, yes, I beat these motherfuckers. They didn't find shit. And so I had like $1,000 on me, and they saw that, and they was like, "Where's all the drugs?" I was like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. And so they raided the room. They found my empty bag of cokes, just like the glassine bags. They were empty, like it was, you know, but they had the Superman logo. They were like, we fucking know everything. We know
It was the
everything.
stack of empty bags.
Yeah, yeah. And then they kept searching, and they found a little bottle of like volume pills that I forgot somebody gave me them shits, and they were like, what are you doing with this, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, I don't know, this is somebody else's medication, this is drug paraphernalia, blah blah blah. And so they take me to the precinct, and they were like, look, we're gonna give you an option. You get the fuck out of school, or you want to go to court for this shit. And I was
That's
like,
a pretty easy choice.
so they banned me. I can't ever go like 100 meters from the school.
To this day.
Yeah, but I was there like the other day.
Yeah, I mean, they don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
But like the rule was like, don't ever come back.
You don't ever step into this premises, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then I went back to the streets, and I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I was just trapping all day, all night.
And that's when you link back in with Happy Endings. Like that's when you find that spot. And
yeah, about a year later, yeah.
Got you. And at that point, like you're in college, like you did good in school. Was there ever a mentality of like, yo, I should be a doctor. I should go be a lawyer.
Yeah, like, I wanted to be like a stockbroker at one point. Like I was good with numbers. You know, I used to follow like Wall Street Journal and shit like I used to read.
Yeah.
No, I loved school. I still love educating myself and learning new shit.
Yeah.
You know?
And out of curiosity, well, this is for later, but like how heavy were you at that point?
So I was not that heavy at that point. I got heavy because my ex-wife got pregnant, and then I basically got pregnant too. Yeah,
That's
so
what
like,
happens, bro.
Yeah, I ate and then I was just making so much money that I was just like sitting in the car not doing shit.
And then at this point, like what percentage of the money is going back into getting new product and like reinvesting? And then what percentage is going to like lifestyle and that kind of thing?
All the percentage went to lifestyle.
Oh, really?
And like, nah, I mean like a lot of it, because we just like, I mean, I saved money and shit like that, but it was not like a significant amount where I was like, damn, I should have had a couple hundred.
Yeah. Are you like taking trips and stuff?
We're doing stupid shit. Puerto Rico, and I was on parole, so I was like, I really couldn't leave the country, but I was leaving to like, you know, technically another state, you know. And,
right.
And they would not, the trick was like, don't go to another country with a passport because you're going to get caught. But you could go to like
Puerto Rico,
you're good.
Yeah, go to Guam, hit Hawaii.
Yeah. And so we would do that a lot, and then we'd do like snowmobile trips. We got obsessed with like, we're from the hood. We never really fucking rode a snowmobile.
Yeah. Wait, where'd you go snowmobiling?
Like Vermont, upstate, like by, so I remember going to like Vermont, and like we snowmobile like once before. And when we hit the trails over there and we rented these snowmobiles, it was like a tour, and we're like, yo, this shit is fucking whack, blah, blah, blah. My boy got frustrated. Said, I want a real ride. We know how to fucking ride. We know how to do this shit. And like, we had like one experience before. Like, and so the guy was like, oh, really? You guys want to? And like, the dude looked like you, like long fucking hair, like straight, like Woodstocky look, you know? And so like, we go to the fucking trails, and we're like fucking, he's like boom, boom, like we're zigzagging down the fucking mountain.
Yeah, deep snow, like ripping it.
Crazy. And so my fucking thing flipped over me, and I landed in the, like we were going down a hill like this, and shit flipped over me, and I just saw the fucking whole thing, and it fucking broke, and I'm like, fuck. I had to pay for that. Not a lot. I paid for like $4,000 for that snowmobile to be fixed.
I mean, not a lot, but like
yeah, a lot, yeah.
From a poor Dominican kid living in the Lower East Side, all of a sudden like $4,000 for a snowmobile. All right.
But we were making money.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And so at that point, is that like the height of it?
Around that time, yeah.
Yeah. And then you're like, are you selling to like Wall Street dudes? Like,
yeah.
Everyone's hitting you up.
Yeah. Stockbrokers all the time. Like we were going straight to the New York Stock Exchange outside, waiting for them to come out.
Really?
Get in the car. We're driving up the block. Here's your bags.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably dealing with like now probably guys that are like CEOs of banks and shit.
Absolutely. Banks, judges, lawyers, doctors.
Oh, really?
I remember this guy fucking so coked up. Like he called us all night, and he was throwing like a coke party in his house on 9th Street. He was a neurosurgeon. He was
like a brain surgeon.
Brain surgeon. And so it was like 7 in the morning. He's like, you got to come back because I need more. I got to go to work. I got to do the surgery. And I fucking had to hold him down because he wanted to go to fucking work. I'm like, yo, bro, you're not, and like his friends were there, like we all holding him down. And I was like, yo, but you called me, so you got to pay for this shit. So, like I sold it to them and like, I was like, yo, everybody fucking like hold this motherfucker down. And
bro. Yeah. So wait, what happened with Paris Hilton bought from you?
So Paris, so Natasha Lyon, I actually came out in the newspaper, I think the New York Post. So she got caught like by her roommates, you know, like doing a whole bunch of drugs. Like she was like, I turned her out to doing heroin because I would bring her to the crack houses. I taught her how to cook crack and I strung her out. And but she had this nice, beautiful brownstone on 18th Street, right in front of the park between 1st and 2nd. And her roommates was snitched on her, and so like there was like this kid always coming in and out and serving her drugs, and so they didn't know my name, but they knew that I was going in there. Anyway, Natasha Lyon was like a crazy client of mine. Like she was like always hitting me up almost every day. There was times where like I would walk. I remember walking with my mom one time and I'm smoking a cigarette and she's like waiting for me in the corner and I'm coming out of my mom's building and she grabs my leg because I was like, yo, get the fuck away with like I'm with my mom right now.
Family right now.
And she grabs my leg and she starts begging me like, please, just another one, please. And I'm like trying to kick her off my fucking leg. I'm like, this is like 12 in the afternoon or broad daylight. And my mom like felt embarrassed and went into the bodega and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? Get the fuck out of here. And then I like gave her work and I was like, yo, don't fucking ever do that shit again. Anyway, she calls, she used to call all the time, and then she had Paris Hilton was a friend. And so she brings Paris to the block. And this is like my friends, we were hanging out in 485 Allen in the project building there. And she calls us down and I had about 20 bags of coke and she bought all of it. Yeah.
Was she cool when she came through?
I should have sold it for more. Yeah. I was still not increasing my profit margins at that time.
Right.
And I was like, I got 20s. And she was like, how much? How many? I was like, I got 20 bags of 20. And she was like, let me get all of them. 400 back.
Whoa. And she's probably hella famous at this point. That's probably like the height of her.
Yeah, that was when she got locked up and all that shit. What's that? No, the other famous lady that got locked up too. She did the movie.
Lindsay Lohan?
Lindsay Lohan. So nice. Lindsay Lohan touched my shit too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It, like through that connect?
No, that was another thing. This is when the Bowery Hotel opened up. They were doing a party in the Bowery Hotel, and I got a call from one of my clients. They told me to go to the rooftop, and she was there, and he made the sale, and she was like, hi, and he passed her the drugs.
And that was it? Whoa.
Robert De Niro.
What? What?
Yeah, crazy times, man.
Wait, he hit you up, or like one of his people was like, come through to this hotel?
This was when I was like semi like working for somebody, and like he referred me. He was like, yo, go see this guy. He's at the roof.
Did you know who it was?
No.
So you show up.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you just see Robert De Niro sitting there.
Yeah. With a whole bunch of people. They were all partying.
Did you hang?
Nah, I was just like cop and go. I like these people are like dressing like in tuxedos and shit like that, like very nice, and I'm like rocking this shit, you know, like with a triple X T-shirt that's down to my fucking knees.
Yeah, Jordans that are fitted in a tall tee, and you're like, yo,
I don't fit.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild. And so, do you get nervous at all when you're dealing with these kinds of people, or is it just business? You're like head down, boom. Did you care? Like,
it was like cop and go. cop and go. Like I got to get to the next person. Got to get to the next person.
And so the customer service is crazy, and the product is pure, uncut. So everyone's fucking with it. Everyone's like, yeah, this is great.
Yep.
I mean, that's wild. And then at that point, you're probably up to like, is that when you're doing like 2 mil a year, 3 mil?
Yeah.
Crazy. And just taking trips, snowmobiling, Puerto Rico, beach, the whole thing.
And then on the block.
And then back to it.
Yeah.
And then how did you get jammed up from that?
So when the operation was running smoothly, my partner actually got locked up and was doing a year in prison. So I was handling everything. And so actually this is before then. But like, so we had a dispatcher. The dispatcher was we set him up with a nice fucking condo on the Upper West Side. We set him up with a nice brand new vehicle, and he was all set. All he had to do was just we paid him a salary, you know. All he had to do was just pick up the phones and send people over. That was it, you know. But the drivers were coming in, picking up the work from him. He was giving it to them, and he was doing that. So anyway, he started another number behind our back. So his cousin, that was one of our drivers, that we really didn't know like that, but we trusted him. So we were like, all right, whatever. He was the driver. So anyway, he was doing, he made different business cards and was giving out the clientele that was calling us to them. And at that time, shit was getting a little bit slow and it was weird. So they're giving, you know, putting the stuff out there. And then I get a call from one of my clients that had my personal number, Dominic, and he lived on Hester, and he was like, yo, this shit is trash. Like, these new blue bags, I don't know what the fuck you doing with this, but I'm like, what are you talking about, blue bag? And he was like, yeah, the guy with the green Jeep, you know, he dropped it off and he gave me a new number, you know, and I was like, what? Let me get that number. So I called, and this motherfucker picks up, and then he hangs up. And then I'm like, yo, we went over there to try to like confront him. Disappeared with a lot of work. Like, I think it was maybe 300 grams of coke disappeared, money, and disappeared with the phones. And so we're like, yo, we got to get these fucking phones back. So we went back. We had a T-Mobile like prepaid connect, and we went over there and we're like, yo, our phone numbers, we need new phones. So we got all the numbers, and then we took that phone that he was using to attract our clients, and that phone was the one that was fucking being tapped, because his cousin gave one of the cards to undercover DEA agent or some shit. And so now we're not thinking, we're just continuing business as normal. I'm doing all the dispatching, and we send probably about 40 sales to, you know, these people, and they had 40 undocumented undercover sales. They said I made a sale. I never made a sale in my life to undercover. I was in the car, and one of my guys was like, yo, can you pick me up and drop me off here? And I was driving, and I was like, all right, pick you up and come see this person. He served them, and my boy never got locked up. He got away with it.
Whoa.
Yeah, got lucky.
So how do the phones get tapped? So like basically you give a card to an undercover, he then gets the number.
Yeah, and they're calling that number. And
then they're able to go through the back end and like get access to it somehow.
Yeah, I'm not.
Through some government shit.
IT support. I don't know.
So then now he's able to listen on all the calls, and then you're getting pushed work from those numbers, and then they're able to track it. Fuck.
And so the day I got caught, I had about 10 drivers out, and I'm sending all the drivers with my Nextel, and then my Nextel was getting like this technical, like it was just not going through, and when it went through, it went crick, you know, and you got to talk. But it was not going through. It was getting, and so I'm sending all my drivers to the destinations, and every driver I'm sending is like getting fucked up, and I'm thinking it's like Nextel issue, like the
Right,
phone
some
is
service
fucked up.
issue or something.
So I had about 40 people in the queue to be delivered, and like my phones are blowing up, and I'm like, fuck, I gotta go see all these people. Like,
What's going
number
on?
one thing, I hate bad customer service. So I fucking drive 100 miles per hour up to the stash house. I get up there, I grab 100 bags of Coke, and then I fucking I went to go. First of all, I went over there. My homegirl, my partner's girlfriend at the time, like she comes and drops off like 5 pounds of weed, like straight sour. And she was in a Cadillac. I was in the BMW M3, and she was in the Escalade. And so we come out of the house, and this white guy stops me and is like, pulls out a badge, and he's like, "This is Detective Joseph King, DA agent. Your shit is done." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You Coss Marte." I'm like, "What? Get the fuck out." So I turned around. I tried to like leave, and they just threw me on top of the hood of the car, and then they took her and like went in the Escalade, and it smelled like sour diesel at that time. Was sour diesel. Like now we can't find that sour diesel anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't get that original strong crazy sour diesel smell that was like super loud. And the whole car stank, but they flipped the whole shit and they let her go. They let her go. Yeah, they let her go.
And how much did she have on her?
Nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nothing. She was just coming to do the drop off of the weed, but the pounds were upstairs. And so they cuffed me up, and they were like, "We got a warrant." And they were like, we're gonna go upstairs. Tell us where all the shit is at. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. At that moment, they didn't find any drugs on me. My phones are fucking blowing up, and they were like, "You got fucking 7 cell phones." Like, they don't stop ringing, you know?
Yeah.
And they just thought it was one phone. And so they brought me up, and they was like, "Where's the stuff at?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." It was like, "Come on, we're not stupid." They walked directly to the fucking box. I had maybe a few dozen boxes of Jordans at that time in that stash house, and one Jordan box had a kilo and a half already bagged up, and they were like, "We know everything, bingo." And I was like, only 2 or 3 other people knew about that stash, like knew where that shit was at, you know, because not every driver had access to the spot.
Of course.
And so I started already speculating, like, who the fuck told, you know? And it was, somebody told. Yeah.
And so some of the drivers they all got jammed up. That's why the numbers weren't working and everything started going down.
Yeah, and I found out when I went into the precinct, and I went into the precinct, they started like clapping. They're like, "We got him, we got him, we got him." And then I walked down the cell. So this is precinct PSA 4 on Avenue C. And I walked there, and there's like multiple cells on one corridor, and I'm just seeing like all my drivers. I was like, they walked me down the fucking
Fuck. And what are you thinking as you're walking down the hallway and you're like, damn, they know where the shit is, someone snitched, and all my people are in here?
Yeah, I was like, fuck, man. I was like, yo, I told people, I was screaming, I was like, yo, don't say shit, because they were bringing people for interrogation one at a time. But there was another guy that was in the female cell. So there's a female side and the men's side. The men's side is bigger. And the female side, they had a cell outside. And I look at him, and he's like, and I just found it a little bit sketchy. And he's the one that told.
Not making eye contact and shit. Like,
he was just like, "Damn, it's done, it's done." I'm like what? And whatever. I'm in there. I'm sitting there. They give me cigarettes. I'm smoking a cigarette. I'm stressed the fuck out. My boys are just screaming outside the cell, and they come back, and they took my possessions, but they brought me back my wallet. In my wallet, I had a picture of my son, and I had 10 pieces of acid. And so I fucking we used to call it funny papers. That was like our code word. And And I told like a lot of my drivers, like we used to trip out too. And I was like, yo, they gave me back the fucking funny papers, bro. They was like, yo, pass me one, pass me one. I was like, nah, fuck that shit. So I took all 10 pieces of acid. I had a whole strip. And
all 10?
All 10. All fucking 10 pieces of that. A whole strip. And so that shit kicked in about an hour later. And then that's when they called me to the interrogation room. And I got a fucking smile on my face. I'm fucking tripping balls. And I'm laughing. And they were like, they started asking me like, where did I get all my stuff? Like, you know, just give somebody up. And I'm like, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I'm laughing. I was like, they were like, you know, you're facing life. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Give me 25. I don't care. You know, do whatever the fuck you want. Blah, blah, blah. The district attorney is there. There's like 10 DEA agents trying to put pressure on me. And I was like, you fucking idiots gave me 10 pieces of acid right now. I was in my fucking wallet, dumbasses. I'm fucked up right now. That's when they just threw me back in my cell. But when I get to see the judge is like, yeah, so we're here. You're on a little bit of LSD. And I'm like, you know? And the DA was like, we're pressing kingpin charges. You know, this guy's multi-million-dollar drug dealer, blah, 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 all this shit. And, you know.
Bro, and you're just zooted. You're like finishing out your fucking trip in the cell, just looking at the ceiling.
I was tripping for
the
like
whole sky opens up.
24 hours. The judge was Jesus.
I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry, God. Bro, that's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane. Were you like hallucinating crazy in the cell?
Like, I mean, I was taking acid a lot at that time.
Yeah.
I was probably taking acid every like 3 days.
Yeah.
And I was taking like 2 or 3 pieces of acid. But
oh, whoa.
I was seeing colors.
Yeah. That's interesting. Like, why did you start doing acid? Like, it was just around, you were like, oh, this is cool?
I took acid for the first time when I was young, like 14. Mm-hmm. They had a mess. They used to have these mess tabs, and so I took that. And then I think I was like 17. My boy started getting them again, and I started just popping it once in a while, nothing crazy.
Just for fun.
And then my partner got into it, and he was like, you never did acid before? I was like, yeah, I have. Like let me get that, you know? And so we started tripping all the time. Like, that was our shit. Like,
you ever do like shrooms?
Yeah, but we wanted to go see
outer space.
Yeah.
That's wild. I've never done acid. I'm curious.
It's the best thing.
Yeah, I'm curious about it, but it seems intense.
I have a piece on me right now. Seriously.
Bro, imagine in the middle of the pod, just like, I'm in your brain. I'm like, dude, I'm in prison right now.
Yeah, I have, you know, if you need it.
Yeah, so you still fuck around with stuff like that just for fun?
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes. You know.
Yeah. Just be like, do you like go to concerts and shit? Like, do you like to party like that?
I like going to concerts with my wife, but I don't really go. I would love to do like a ayahuasca trip, like shit like that. Like my wife is Peruvian and she's never done it, and she's like, she's scared of that shit. But I'm like,
you never tried it?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I've like done DMT, LSD, shrooms.
How's DMT?
DMT was crazy. Like that shit was crazy. It's like a short 30-40 minute high, but like everything is like animated. Like the build. So I did it with my boy like on 34th Street. He was staying in the New York hotel, and I go outside and like all the fucking buildings are like animated
cartoon shit,
like it was like a comic book.
Whoa. That's wild. And you're just walking around,
and I'm like, I was scared. I'm not gonna, he's probably gonna laugh at me, but yeah, I was a little bit nervous.
Yeah, of course. That's why I'm like, I wouldn't do it, because I was afraid. Like, I sometimes, if I smoke, I'll get anxious if I'm not in the right setting.
Yeah,
like I told the story before, but like I went to Burning Man. Yeah, which you should go to that shit, bro. Honestly, like do acid at Burning Man. That shit is crazy. But I did. I smoked at Burning Man, and I was fucking Dwight Howard was with me, and
Wow.
I wasn't even with him. He just walked up next to me, and I was like, "What's up, dude?" And
That's
then
crazy.
he fucking passes me this joint, and I was like, I grew up in Orlando, so I'm like, this man, that's Superman, bro.
Yeah,
like that's my Superman.
hell yeah.
So I was like, oh fuck. So I literally grabbed the joint from him, and I was like, and then immediately I was like, oh fuck, he hates me. And this immediately got anxious, and I was like, thanks, bro. And I'm like looking at him and like seeing if he's looking at me, and like I just like him so in my head. I'm like, I gotta go to sleep, and I just left. But like it fucked my whole shit up.
Yeah.
But like, so I'm afraid if I were to do acid, I would get in there and be like,
No, acid makes you laugh hysterically. So you know, like E-pills and Molly gives you like jaw lock.
yeah.
Acid gives you smile lock. So you're like,
just
you can
giddy.
never stop smiling.
Yeah. You
know?
watch like funny movies and shit on acid.
Oh,
and just
I love like
die laughing?
comedy, like all that shit.
What
Like,
was your
that's-
go-to? What was like the movie you watched on acid? You're like, bro.
So there was like Eddie Murphy stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Like that.
Bro,
that
Delirious?
Was, yeah.
In the red suit?
Yeah, red suit. Yeah. That was something that we watched a lot.
Bro, that's
And
a
then,
crazy special.
like on DVD too.
Yeah.
Like,
Bro, you watch that shit now and you're like, I cannot believe he was able to say all this.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Bro, that opening joke where he walks around and he's like, stop looking at my ass. Bro, that's insane. You're like, and he's like 22 in that. That's the craziest
Richard
thing.
Pryor too.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god.
Oh, bro.
We used to watch fucking Chinese flicks a lot too.
Oh, like Kung Fu movies?
Like yeah.
Hell yeah.
And that was funny to us.
Yeah.
We were dying.
Yeah, you ever watch like, it's not really a Kung Fu movie, like Shaolin Soccer? You ever see that one?
Nah.
It's literally a Kung Fu movie, but they all play soccer. And so like they play in the game and like everyone's just like karate chopping, bicycle kick the ball into the goal. That's like the whole movie.
That's crazy.
And I feel like if you pop acid and watch that, you're like, bro, this is the best movie
Yeah.
I've ever seen. Oh, that's wild, man. Yeah. So literally you're just like finishing out this trip in the cell and you're like kind of coming down. And then what happens when you come down and you're like, bro, I just wanted an interrogation like off my ass.
Well, I didn't come down in that cell. Like I came down in like 3 other cells after.
3 days later.
It was like after, so that you're being held in the bookings for like 2 days. You know, going from cell to cell, and it's like a whole fucking process to get you into your main jail cell. So when I got to that main jail cell, that's when I like calmed down, and I was just like there by myself, and I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. For me, it was like whatever, you know. Like I started this shit. I'm in it.
It's
you
a
know,
game.
this is part of the lifestyle. That
And
I
how
gotta
old are you
do.
at that point?
23.
Got you. So you were making like crazy money probably from like 17, 18 to 23. Like real
Yeah,
money.
19 was the like
Millions.
peak. Yeah, when
Crazy. And then you got to go to sentencing. And I'm curious, like even before you got jammed up, like did your mom, like she sees like this girl grabbing your leg, she sees like the car, she sees the trips, like what does she think? Is she just like,
she used to be praying for me, and you know, just say like, you know, she didn't want me in that lifestyle. You know?
but she knew about it?
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious.
Yeah.
I was, you know, splurging, and she would see me in the street all the time, and I'm not living with her anymore.
Right.
know?
You got a nice place somewhere. Yeah. But you're also probably helping her out. Like you're supporting the whole family and stuff.
No, not really.
Really?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
They were good.
Well, no, I tried. Like I've given my mom, and she's like, no, I don't want that.
Oh,
Like,
really?
She is like totally against it.
Interesting. And at this same point, like your younger brother,
But
like,
I used to like give my brother money. I used to give my little cousins money. I used to give like that family money. But like, yeah, my mom didn't want to touch any of it. Like
Interesting.
she'd rather die broke.
That's principled.
Yeah.
That's cool of her that she was just like, not for me. I'm not getting involved. That's wild. And then you like are helping out your siblings and stuff. And your brother at this point, if he's like, you know, in politics now, like he was probably college, like the whole thing.
He did hit college while I was locked up. Yeah,
But he was like a good student, like focused.
Yeah,
the whole
he
deal.
studied in China, learned Chinese.
Oh, really?
Like did the
Learned how to
international
cook
program.
crack over there. That same Chinese kid.
And he would send me postcards, you know, when I was locked up.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. And
That's
so
a
I was-
wild, like, double life. It must be weird for your mom to be like, all right, one of my kids was like a millionaire, then got locked up.
And no, my two sisters became very successful. Like,
I mean, y'all are, like, you guys are all smart. Like, you guys are all, like, super sharp.
they were smart. I just didn't want to waste my time with that.
That's my thing though. You're still smart, and you're just like, yo, what's the best margin?
Yeah.
What's like the best product? Like, what's gonna get me to my lifestyle fastest?
That was just my life.
You don't want to waste time.
That was my mentality.
Yeah, and you see this opportunity and this gap in the market. You're like, I could do deliveries to white people with money, fucking celebrities, and my life is good.
Yeah.
And go on trips and the whole deal.
And still live the same better lifestyle than graduating from college.
Yeah, exactly.
A fucking job.
Yeah, and you're just like, I'm not gonna get caught, and if I do, like, I'll just deal with it or try to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you eventually get sentenced, and the judge at that point, like, what is the deliberation, and like how much time were they talking about giving you?
So it first started like try to scare me with like life, you know, and they dropped it down from A1 felony, from a kingpin to A1 felony. Because of kingpin, you had to get caught selling a half a kilo to a direct officer. We were only selling increment. We knew the law too. Like we knew that we shouldn't be carrying a certain amount.
Oh, interesting.
We would have all our drivers with a certain amount of coke, because if they got caught, they would only be sentenced to a certain amount of time. So we mitigated our risk.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You hedged it.
Yeah, and so they couldn't stick the kingpin charges on me. They charged me with an A1. I pleaded guilty to A2. But first my lawyer was like, the minimum drug sentence for the A1 was 12 years. And so I was ready to take 12 years. My lawyer was like, this is the best deal we could do, blah, 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 for the situation. This is your third strike, you know, this is what you're gonna get. And I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna do 12. And so I'm going back and forth to court, and there's news about, there's like rumors in the prison, Governor Spitzer at that time like cheated on his wife with the ex-prostitute,
right,
with the prostitute and all this shit, and he got impeached. And then there was like newspapers that we were reading, and like that they were going to reform the Rockefeller laws. And so Governor Patterson reformed the Rockefeller laws.
And can you explain what that is, the Rockefeller laws?
So it was drug mandatory sentencing laws. So if you got caught with a certain amount, you had to be in this guideline. So from what I got caught with, it was 12 to 24 years. So the judge could have said, you know, do 20 years. But usually, like, if you blew trial and you took it all the way to trial, you know, you're gonna get almost the max, you know, and you're gonna get above 20. I knew I was fucking guilty, so I was like, I just need to plead out to something and get the best deal I could get. And so the best thing I could get was 12 years. And so that was the mandatory
it's a bare minimum. Yeah.
And going back and forth to court and dealing with this change of politics, like, I got 7 years. And my family, or my brother and my dad, was in the back of the courtroom. And I look at them and I say, what's up? And I turn around and the DA says, we're going to change our offer. We're going to offer him 7 years. And my lawyer looks at me and is like, you better fucking take that shit. I'm like, guilty.
Yeah, guilt me.
Yeah,
I did it.
And I'm like smiling.
Yeah, you're on acid again. You're like, here I am.
was like fucking tripping, like I'm living a dream. Yeah. And my family's like, 7 years.
Yeah.
They didn't know that I had minimums and all this shit.
So they're probably like, oh fuck, that's a long time.
7 years is a lot of fucking
But you're over here
time.
being like, yo, I just got 5 years back. I'll be out by when I'm 30. Like
7 years.
Yeah.
And then so 7 years, out of 7 years, they got to do 6 mandatory. And then they came up with, while I was incarcerated, they allowed individuals to take the shock program. So the shock program is like ex-Marines turned correctional officers, and they beat the crap out of you for 6 months, and you save 3 years from your prison time. I did shock my first time I went up to prison, in adult state prison, and I got a year for that. I did a year because I got sentenced to 3 years. But I ended up doing a year because I spent time in Rikers, then I did that 6-month program, and then I came home. And you were only allowed to do that one time ever in your life. And when I went in this third time, well, 4 or 5, it was my 9th time, but technically, when I went in, they allowed it. They opened up the opportunity for you to take it 2 or 3 times, and so I got lucky and I got to do shock again, and that's why I left in 4 years.
And then by the time you're getting put in for that last time,
yeah,
the doctor in the prison tells you like, bro, you're too fat.
Yeah.
Like basically what he said, right?
Well, when you get into prison, like you go over there, they line you up. You're going from Rikers Island to state prison. And this is not like Rikers Island. There's like a lot of black, Latino officers, white officers. There's like a mix of officers. But when you get upstate, that shit is fucking redneck.
Yeah, it's just country.
I mean, like Ku Klux Klan shit.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, like you'll see swastika signs on the CO's fucking arm tattooed. Shit. Like real racist shit.
Yeah.
And so like you go up there and they're like, you fucking nigger, spick, all this shit. Like calling me that, calling everybody that.
Damn.
Because we're all black and there's no white people that are going up from Rikers Island.
Right.
And they'd be like, this is not fucking Rikers Island, you fucking little spick, blah, blah, blah. And they'll smack somebody in the head and shit like that. And then they'll get stripped naked. You go into the shower, they give you this fucking liquid, you rub this shit down your body, you get cleaned up, they give you your uniform, then they line you up and you go into a medical unit. And so when you get to the medical unit, they're drawing all types of blood, they do like a TB shot, and so you go through that whole process. And about 2 weeks later, after going through that intake process, they called me down to the medical unit and they were like, yo, and it was me and this older man. He was like 75, and they sit me down, and then he gets called in and he comes back and we're sitting in the bench talking to each other. He's like, so what they said? I was like, yo, my cholesterol level's high. And I was like, oh shit, they told me the same shit. And they placed us on medication. They said my cholesterol levels were through the roof, that if I didn't eat correctly or exercise, that I could probably die of a heart attack within 5 years.
Fuck.
I was only 24 at that time. And
how much did you weigh?
I was only 231. But I think, the lifestyle that I was living was extremely bad. I was smoking so much. I was drinking. I was eating fried food.
What was the go-to food though?
There's this Dominican sandwiches in Uptown called chimis.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about a chimi, but it's like coleslaw, hamburger, like extra. It's like a better than a mac sauce.
Yeah.
And it's you just take a bite and it just drips. And then you have you don't have like French fries. You have sweet potato, fried sweet potato, but in Spanish is batata.
Yeah.
So, chimi with fucking fried batata,
Bro, so you would smoke, you're sitting in the car, with runners.
With a Corona.
Corona, chimi, and then just snacking all day. Just like, what's the go-to snack? What's the best bodega snack?
Best bodega snack? I mean, straight, like just thinking about it, and the first thing that comes to my head is like an empanada. Or like meat, like fried, deep fried, But when I was in the corner and I was in the LES and Broome at Eldridge, and they still have these little fucking White Castle in a plastic bag, because there was no White Castle in my hood. We would have to go to Brooklyn, or we have to go East Harlem to go to fucking White Castle. So we would like put White Castle and get like, Mama was the lady she's like 100 years old, still working the register.
Whoa.
She's iconic over there, but like, you will get her to add like extra cheese, and that shit was fucking
the best.
Banging.
Bro, so you would just put down hella chimis and White Castle just all day.
Yeah. And
you were just racking up. And did you feel like before you went to prison, like, did you feel heavy? Like, did you feel bad, like healthy wise?
I started getting stretch marks. Like, so I got like stretch marks on my side and my stomach here. Yeah. And like, my friends used to be like, yo, you got fucking stretch marks, you fat fuck. And I'm like in the beach, I didn't even notice until they told me. And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, damn.
Whatever,
Right. But you're living good.
Elon Musk is fat. That means I made it,
Exactly. No one looks at him. I mean, he doesn't get any shit.
Yeah.
Yo, that's wild. So your boys are just clowning you.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, fuck, yeah, I guess I am a little.
Yeah.
But who gives a fuck, though? Like, you got girls, you got, like, money, you got whatever.
And
like,
I'm not getting checked up. When you're in the street and you're hanging out, you're not going to go see a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
and your life is good anyway. Like you don't need to like be in shape to get girls.
But I would definitely need to get in shape to get girls. Like at that time, I was just spending a lot of money on girls, like just giving it away. But anyway, like I was sitting in a BMW M3 like all day, all night, and I literally didn't waste my time trying to find parking or didn't go to parking. I was not walking from the parking lot to my apartment. I was literally leaving it double parked outside. I would face the ticket. I might have paid like the city maybe like $30,000-$40,000 in tickets in my lifetime.
Bro, just from $65 at a time.
Yeah, just like I'll leave it double parked this
take
way.
it.
Yeah,
bro.
And sometimes it'll get towed, and then that's when I have to walk.
Yeah. And then heaven forbid you gotta walk. But you didn't live in a walk up. You had an elevator building. You had a doorman.
Get me a wheelchair. I lived in the first floor, and it was actually a walk up.
Hilarious.
At that time.
But you were good though, like in terms of like lifestyle. So you're like, fuck it. I don't need to be healthy.
Yeah.
And then you go to prison. He tells you, yo, you gotta figure this out.
Yeah, no, it was I don't know if she was a doctor, maybe a physician, whatever, but she said like what I recommend is to get on a special diet, medication, and exercise. And obviously you don't get the best food in prison, so what they did was like if you on the cafeteria line, and this is like intake process, so you don't really get to order commissary right away until like another 30 days. But while I was there, I'm standing on the line, and I get to my meal, and they say, "Oh, you got special diet." So they give me like one piece of fucking wheat bread and like meat.
That's not a chimney.
And I'm like, yeah, it was definitely not a fucking chimney. And I just like really started contemplating about like exercising. Like I knew how to work out, and just went out to the yard, and I looked like a fool. Like I was the only person running out there, and I first started jogging, and then I couldn't jog too much. I started walking, and running, jogging, running, walking, and
just literally around the yard.
Just did that for 2 hours a day, and then I started wearing a fucking garbage bag over me, so I could sweat. So I had like a sweatsuit on, and I'll put my fucking my hoodie over that, my jacket over that. And I'm just fucking running and
Latino
running,
Rocky, bro.
Just fucking sweating, and just going back to my cell and doing push-ups and dips and all types of calisthenic exercises. And it was until like after I lost all the weight, one gentleman, his name was Bus. He came up to me. I was smoking cigarettes still upstate, and so like he comes up to me. He's like, "Yo, give me a bust down." I gave him half my cigarette. We started talking. And he's like, yo, and Bus was like ready to die. He was like 320, like my height, it was bad, like horrible shape, and he's like, yo, I want to start running with you. And I was like, all right, let's come, let's run. So I didn't think, I was like, I'm just gonna run with him. So we ran, and two of his other friends came out, and then one of my other friends came out, and then at one point we had like, I helped over 20 inmates who's over 1,000 pounds combined.
Yeah, it's insane.
So I started like this whole workout thing in the yard, just leading workouts, or I'm following somebody's workout, and it was just camaraderie builder.
And they left you alone, like the other inmates, like they didn't fuck with you?
Well, when I was like running, people used to call me like Fat Forrest Gump in the beginning and like make fun of me. And it was usually like the solitary confinement units was facing the prison yard. So you'll hear like we used to call them cell gangsters. Because like when they come out of their cells and they meet you face to face, they're not gonna talk shit, but they could scream out of a fucking cell and be a gangster,
Right.
And so I used to like run and just like fucking give them the middle finger. But
that's probably good motivation, low key.
Yeah, it was actually.
The more shit they would talk, you're like, all right, fuck you.
But some of it was like hilarious, and I used to just be like running and just fucking laughing.
Die laughing.
They would just go on for hours.
Yeah. And they probably had good burns too. Like all they got is time just to be fucking writing down disses.
The best comedians are in the system.
Bro. That sucks. You just get ripped.
Yeah.
And like, as far as your time in prison, like when you first got there, were you like in a car? Did you know like your people that you had to kind of like link with? Did you like, how did you assimilate into the system?
I had friends that were in there, in the same cell blocks, same like friends that were from my block, like literally, like Marcos, Glenn. Glenn was in the Vice documentary, and he was like, he used to see me every morning walking fucking to go to work, and he used to be like, "Oh, you still fucking out here running?" And I'm talking about like upstate, like central New York, fucking 3 feet of snow, and I'm out there.
Whoa. And why'd you stay motivated? Like all this time, like did you feel like you were just channeling all of your energy and like hustle mentality into fitness because that's all you could control?
Yeah, it was a lot of like, my mentality was like, I'm always going to try to progress. I'm always going to try to progress. I have the time to progress my body, my mind, like read books and exercise, read book and exercise.
What kind of stuff were you reading?
I read fiction, nonfiction, Patterson books, Stephen King books.
And you just binge
Tom, I forgot the names, but I read a lot.
Yeah,
I read philosophy books, psychology books.
Did you do like any classes and stuff while you were there?
So I went over there and they had a college program, but there was only maybe like 20 people in the college program, and the waiting list was like 2 years. So after like 2 years, I got into the college program, and then I did the college program for like a year, and then I got transferred over.
Got you. And then what jobs did you have while you were in there?
Cleaning, janitorial. I did like cleaning cemeteries, you know, cutting down trees, fixing the roads.
Oh, crazy. They had you like out there.
Yeah, you're like straight slave work, yo.
That's insane. That 13th Amendment shit. That like,
yeah, no, it's real.
They just make you do it.
My hat, the 13th. So the B logo is
that's fire.
The 13th. You know,
that's
so
clever.
I really went in on fucking branding.
But you've always been in branding, bro. You've had Superman bags and happy ending bags. Like I feel like you're always looking at the brand. Like it's solid.
Yeah.
And so they just have you out there just fucking doing labor.
With a guard with a gun, and they're just watching you work.
Crazy.
You do your work detail.
Was it demoralizing, or were you kind of like, oh, I can kind of keep moving and like do something?
It was no, it was good. You know, it is, but you're like, you're not seeing the world. So like when you could go on a work site,
right,
and you're like, you might see a girl, like, you know, drive by in a fucking car.
I'm gonna remember that for the next 3 weeks.
I saw a fucking nipple, yo.
I caught cleavage a little.
Yeah, like
that's hilarious.
That's like,
yeah, you're out in nature at least. Like you're not around all these fucking inmates. Like you got to be out a little bit,
bro. No woman for a long time.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's just hard, bro.
Especially going from the lifestyle.
Yeah,
which I'm sure was great. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, locked up.
Yeah. And
did you get visits and stuff? Like were people able to come visit?
Yeah, my ex-wife visited me a lot. You know, my son. My mom came a few times.
Yeah. And what were the combos like when they were coming up?
It was just like, how's the world? Just like basic surface shit, nothing too deep. You know, it was just like hugging, like with. My ex-wife was a little bit deeper with my son, you know, was just seeing him run around, and it was hard, you know, like there was, and I think that was a huge change in my life, you know, it's just coming to the visiting rooms and seeing my son cry and wanting and asking me to come home and all this stuff is
it's
like
heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
And it forces you to kind of reevaluate. Like before, you're not necessarily maybe thinking about how your decisions are impacting other people. Yeah. And then once you're in there and you got only time to reflect on it, and then you're kind of like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Like, I got to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
And then while you're in there, was there like violent at all? Like, did you have to like affiliate? Did you have to fight? Like, or were you able to kind of keep clear and just focus on working out?
Yeah, I kept cleared. I mean, I've had a couple fights while I was there, but I wasn't nothing too crazy. I actually got in a fight maybe like 3 days when I got to my block, and almost got caught and sent to the box for that shit, but got away with it.
But someone just tried to try you like as soon as you got there?
No, so there's the day room, there was chairs out, there's this Mexican kid sitting there, and I went to go use the bathroom, and he grabbed my chair and so everybody has their own chair, and you bring it to your just like cubicle areas. And this is when I got to the medium, and he took my chair when I stepped out, and he put his feet on my chair, and I was like, yo, let me get my fucking chair back. And he was like, and so I grabbed it, and he was like, oh, yo, you want to fight? I was like, look, come to the bathroom, because the bathroom was where like we could get away with a fight. And so we scuffed it out a little bit, and then the lieutenant was coming in to the unit, and they come to do random checkups, and he saw us through the window, and he walked in. I ran into a bathroom stall. The kid got caught, and he had his lump was over his eye was showing a little bit, and he was like, where's that mark? Where's that mark? Where's the other guys? And there was other people in the bathroom, so everybody walked out, and I walked out with the mix, and they was like, everybody get back to your units. So I go back to my like little cell thing, and and I'm standing there, and they're checking everybody's, like they check everybody's hands, and if it's red or if you got cuts or whatever. So they basically strip us, you know, to see if we have any marks. And the kid didn't snitch on me, but he went to the box.
Fuck. You saw him after that?
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, we got him. Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that before, like from other people, that like you'll get tried as soon as you get in. Like people will kind of just like test if you're pussy or not. Yeah. And then depending on how you react to the test is kind of how the rest of your time will go. Yeah, exactly. And then if you kind of shy away, or you kind of like show your pussy, then your life sucks. You have to, I've seen people get taken advantage. Yeah. It's sad. I hate it. I hate bullies. Yeah, it sucks. And the guys that you were bunked with, were they cool? Yeah. Yeah. You still talk to them? One of them, Esco, Pablo, his nickname is Esco, but Pablo, it's his real name, and he's actually working at a dispensary. I got him a job working at a dispensary, one of the legal ones. Oh, that's dope. And, down here. So he's back to it. Yeah, he's back to it. Well, he came out and like was struggling to find a job, and then he was doing his weed runs too, and I just kept in touch with him, and I was like, yo, bro, if you ever need a job, and he was like, yeah, but I'm hustling out here. And then I called him. I was like, yo, bro, they have jobs where you could work at a dispensary when they first opened. And so he got to work. He's still working at the first dispensary. He's like, yo, I appreciate you, bro. Like, thank you so much. You're doing very well there. That's sick. Yeah. And then are you doing the shock program still? Like all that same stuff? That was towards the end. Okay, got you. Yeah. What even is that? Like, how does that work? So you get 3 years before your release, you get a letter for consideration. And so I got considered to go to shock, and you could accept it or not. Some people are like, fuck that shit. I'm not having nobody scream at me or touch me, blah, blah, blah. And they have this fucking big pride. I'm like, it's 6 fucking months, and I'm saving 3 years of my sentence. I got kids out there, like, get the fuck out, like, and I did shock before. And so I go to shock, and I actually get kicked out of the shock. I went to the box, and then I restarted shock after the box, and then I came home. How long were you in the box for? That time, 30 days. Fuck. Yeah. Brutal? Yeah. I mean, the box is always brutal. Just mentally tough, right? Yeah. What'd you do to stay sharp? Busy. You keep yourself busy, you know? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't consider it, like, related to the pandemic. But, like, when you were locked in your house and you were bored as fuck and you're tired, like, you come in, there's so many people coming up with new shit, Right. Obviously, I didn't have no fucking TV. I had no TikTok. I had none of that shit. So I'm like, my schedule would be wake up, I would work out, I would take like you get 2 showers a week, maybe 3 sometimes, and I would take a bird bath, so I would get a slow ass bird, and like my water's like dribbling out of my fucking little sink, and then I would write for like an hour. I wrote my book in there, my Combody book, like my whole workout routine, and this is where I came up with Combody, like in that cell. While you were thinking. Yeah. That's cool. And I would just write, and then if I had the opportunity to get a book from the book cart, like when they were coming down,
once a week. I grabbed 2 books, knocked them shits out. Like I was reading a book a day, you know, like 300-400 pages.
And they would give you books you could kind of like keep your mind busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, like I would knock out 2 books in 2 days, and then I'm sitting there fucking bored. But I that's when I returned to the Bible. So I had like a spiritual awakening that happened to me, and it really changed my life. And my sister at the time, she's still super, my mom's religious, but my sister's like Mother Teresa's child, like Jesus like birthed her or some shit. But she's cool. Super religious.
Yeah.
And she finds out I was in solitary because I was not calling home. And she writes me a letter, and she's like, I spoke to the people in the prison. We know you're in solitary. Something happened. It's going to be okay. All I want you to do is read Psalm 91 from the Bible. And I was like, Psalm 91 from the Bible? I don't fucking need Jesus. I need a fucking lawyer to get me out of this shit, you know? And out of boredom, I had this Bible that she gave me on early in my prison sentence. Never opened it up to read it. It would like, in prison we use Bibles as like our address books, because that's the only shit that can't take away. It follows you through solitary, it follows you through any jail that you go, you know, your Quran, Torah, whatever your religious item is, they cannot take away. And so all I had was this Bible. And at that time I wrote a letter to my family letting them know, like, I'm in this situation, I can get the hell out of here, I'm fighting this case now. I ended up in the box because the officer said I was attempting to assault him. I had a situation with an officer, and so I'm fighting this semi-ticket case. And I write this letter, and I closed it, and I realized I had no stamp to send out this letter with. And I remember like fucking being stressed as fuck, and my sister writes me this letter. Didn't open up the Bible. But out of boredom, after like a week in solitary, I opened it up and I turned to the pages that she told me to read. Psalm 91, he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say the Lord, he is my shelter and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. As I was reading that, there was a stamp between the pages of my fucking Bible, and it dropped. And it was the stamp that I needed to send out this message to my family, letting them know what really happened, you know?
Bro. That's so cool. That's an awesome story.
It's crazy.
Damn.
And that changed my life.
It was that moment you were like, all right, let's get into this a little bit.
Yeah, I read the Bible from front to back, and like just restarted understanding like what I needed to do in life, you know? And I'm not somebody that pushes religion or, you know, hallelujah, amen every second, you know, but this is what opened my eyes.
Right, it's your personal thing that helps you stay focused. That's cool. And did you have like a mentor or like a pastor that like came to you, or like you literally were just teaching yourself just through reading the Bible?
Yeah, just reading.
Whoa. Yeah. That's crazy. Do you have like favorite books or like passages that you still think about? Obviously the Psalm, but like, were there things as you were reading them, like through the Gospels, you were like,
yeah, through the Gospels, I one thing was like, I don't remember the verses, but like in Paul, he talks about the like money and the root of all evil, and like, you know, and that just, you know, money is good. Money, you know, I believe we should all make money, but I shouldn't hurt people to make the money. You know, and I really started reflecting on like all the damage, like having Natasha Lyne fucking grabbing my leg in front of my mom, you know, begging me for crack, like that. I was destroying her. You know, I introduced her to heroin. I was destroying so many other people that I didn't really care. I had this, my soul, my heart was so hardened. And at that point I felt feelings, you know?
That's interesting. You felt feelings, like you could feel the empathy of like, oh, all these people that I hurt, and all of it. Was it intense? Like having it all happen at once? Did you feel guilty? Yeah,
I felt very guilty. I prayed. And it was weird. A lot of weird shit. I had an out of body experience in that cell. I've never mentioned that to people like that, but like, one thing that happened to me was like, every time I was there in the middle of the summer. It was over 100 degrees. There's no air conditioning, no fan in that cell. You're like sweating. I'm naked all the time, like sweating balls. And every time I opened up the Bible, it felt like I was like 75 degrees in front of a beach. Like I had this cool sensation in my body that I've never felt. Like what happened, you know? And when I would close it, I was like back to reality, back to heat.
This was the escape. You could read it and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
It like literally physically brought you like comfort.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
And so you get out of the box, serve the rest of your time. Your mentality is now completely different. Like the way you're seeing the world is like you're not the same person even.
No, I remember meeting my bunkie. It was like this humongous black man, like 6'5", fucking 300 pounds. He was in the top bunk.
That's scary, bro. You gotta check the screws on that one. You're like, all right, we're good.
But I get they bring me back to general population, and he's reading a Bible, and I'm like, yo, you read it? And then I share my Psalm 91 story, like, and he looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, yo, a stamp fell out of my Bible, it changed my life. And he's like, how much time you did in the box, bro? And then I never shared that with anybody while I was incarcerated, after I felt like I was being judged for it.
Nah, bro, that's a beautiful story. That's cool. You gotta add that to the branding, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta add a little stamp to the fitted.
Yeah.
That's a cool that's a cool story, man.
I like that idea.
That's sick. And so you basically are now working out still. The weight's falling off. Like they gotta probably get you new like jumpsuits.
I like the like I would have to tie my pants were like falling off.
Yeah.
Or I would like we had sewing kits that we could like, so I would like sew and I like bunched up here.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And you're still sort of like in this mental state. Now you mentioned before, I don't know if you want to get into this, but like the Susies that came through, like what's the deal with that?
So Susie is like your girlfriend in prison, but that was more like a juvie, like young, like
that was back before.
And like Rikers Island, I was using a Susie. So basically you take a latex glove, right? You take the latex glove, try to get the extra large ones, no point intended, but like you get the big ones, you stick it in a like a towel, your bath towel.
Yeah.
You roll your bath towel and you take the glove and you fold it outside, right? And then you put lotion in it, and then you hold it all together by putting the big long socks over the towel.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
and then that's your girlfriend,
it's like a flashlight kit.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. And they let you have those? You got to like hide
you make it. Well, you steal the latex gloves from the kitchen workers. You know, so like anybody who's working, yo, bring me back a glove.
My old glove's running out, bro. My whole shit is raggedy. And then you like take it to the showers or some shit, or like just keep it to yourself?
Nah, you throw it away. I mean, I'm not gonna reuse a glove. You know?
Nah, you reuse a glove 1 or 2 times. I won't tell anyone. I won't tell anyone.
I have multiple Susies. You know?
That's crazy, man.
But there was one time where when I went to the medium and we were in a dorm, I was not in a cell anymore, so I didn't have that privacy to like do me, you know. So in the dorm, you have to, like, people go to the bathroom, they put like a sheet up, or they put like a little piece of toilet paper through the cracks of the door so you can focus.
Yeah. Motherfuckers
is making like sex tapes too, like, so we had like cassette tapes.
Yeah.
So we're like listening to like porn, like just like it's
like an audiobook.
And then like an audiobook, but then you have like your magazine that you're watching.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I was like, I did it a couple times, and I'm like, I'm not doing this shit no more. Like, and I'm hearing like a dude walk by. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah,
like,
you got to make sure you get the recording right.
Straight, it was straight turn off. But I stopped masturbating. I stopped doing everything for 2 years.
Oh wow,
2 years.
That was when you were upstate?
Yeah, when I was upstate.
Well, you never 2 years.
2 years. Damn. 2 years. I had wet dreams and stuff like that.
Of course, bro.
But like 2 years I stopped, and then what made me go, and I was like, this is not normal, was that I was on the mess hall line And going to the mess hall, it was like chicken patty day, because that was the only time I went to go to mess hall on Thursdays. And I'm standing on the line, and I'm not hard or anything, chubby, nothing. And I just feel wetness.
Yeah.
I literally came on my fucking, like, my whole shit was wet.
Bro.
And I was like, oh, fuck. And my leg is sticky. And I'm like, I gotta get back to the unit. And I, like, skipped lunch and I fucking ran back embarrassed.
That's why they call it the mess hall, bro. Because you
Yeah.
were down there making a mess.
Yeah.
You were in there thinking about those chicken patties. You're like, bro.
You gotta get
Bro,
can't.
a chicken patty will get you going.
Yeah.
I've done that before. I've never even been in prison. I had a chicken patty one time. I came in my whole pants. It was crazy. That's true. My wife made a chicken patty. I was like, this is a good chicken patty, man.
Sex in your mouth.
Exactly, bro. That shit killed. That's my chimney. That's my version of it. So then, okay, so basically now you're doing the workouts, and then you like, okay, I'm ready to leave. The day comes, they give you a knock, and it's like, you did the shock.
So this shock, fucking literally, as soon as you step out of that gate, it just the air tastes different. It just feels like you get like so much weight off your shoulders, like just drops. And so there's a bus that picks us up, you know, a group of individuals, and they take us to the unit. They take us to the bus stop, and they drop us off at the bus stop. And that bus, so I was let out in like Lakeview Correctional Facility, which is like a 9-hour bus. And I was like, fuck that, I'm taking a flight. And so I took a cab with some other guy, and we went to Buffalo Airport, and got on it. And I like didn't know if I was gonna be able to get on the plane because I had like a parole ID that was valid for like 60 days. So I get on the plane, I'm in. I remember like I needed to call my family to see if they could pick me up from the airport. And so I called them. I was like, I'm gonna take this flight, blah, blah, blah. First of all, it was a shock because I went in with like a flip phone and came out with a touchscreen phone, and like I had no phone. So when I went out to the airport, like I was looking for a payphone. Yeah. And like there was no more payphones.
Bro, that was a fast 4 years, bro.
Yeah, it was like, yo, I had no idea what Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, none of this shit was.
It was 2009, 2013?
Yeah, like the beginning of 2009.
Yeah.
And so this is like right after the recession, and like I'm going into prison, and it was just, I had the best technology that we had was a sidekick. The one that flips.
Yeah, you thought you were so hot with the flip.
Yeah, like that was my shit. You know, and
you were rollerblading with the flip phone, and now all of a sudden it's like rollerblading's gay, flip phones are gay. You're like, what happened?
Yeah. And so I come home, and I mean, I get to the airport, I'm there, and I'm like, I need to call my family. And I asked this lady, I was like, excuse me, miss, can I use your phone? She passed me this touchscreen phone, and I'm like, no, I need a phone.
I don't need your little iPad shit.
Yeah, no, I got confused for a second. I was like, I had a sense that it was a phone, but I'm like, no, this is like an iPod or something.
Bro, you're like an alien, bro.
You're like, yo, like, seriously. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, I just came home from prison. And she's like, like she grabbed the phone and she was like,
but not like that. Not like that.
I was like, I'm not gonna rob you. Don't worry. Like, I just need to make a call. I need to call my family. So she like dialed it for me and put it on speakerphone.
And you're like talking to it. Hello?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
are you in there, Mom?
Yeah.
How are you in?
And and then I got on this little raggedy plane. The shit was mad turbulence, but I get to JFK, and my family met me there. You know, my son, my ex-wife, my parents, my sister, my brother.
And what's that feeling?
It was great, man. Like, just to hold my son out. But it was hard because when I was in solitary and I got a visit, that was the last time I saw my son. So I didn't see my son for like maybe 8 months. So he was a little bit weirded out, and I felt like he just was weirded out. Like, this guy we're celebrating, who, you know, he was 6 years old. Yeah, I came home, so it was not, you know, for me, I thought he was like gonna embrace me and be this little, I got a 15-month-year, my son is 15 years old now, but my daughter, I got a 15-month-year-old now. And so like to have that, you know, before I went in, he was on top of me, hugging me and, you know, all the shit. And it was just not the same feeling.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting now you get to kind of like, you can never make up that time.
Yeah.
But now you got your new baby and like you get to kind of have those years that you didn't get to experience.
Yeah. I know me and my son, we have an incredible relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
how long did it take for him to kind of come around?
Pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Not to a couple months.
Dad is dad at the end of the day.
Yeah. Once, you know, teaching him how to swing a bat and shit like that.
Exactly.
And he sucks, but
yeah, bro, you gotta get that's when you realize, was your ex, was she Dominican also?
Puerto Rican.
Bro, he should be able to swing a bat.
Yeah.
Dominican Puerto Rican blend, like that's bat swinging genetics.
And literally our apartment was in front of the Yankee Stadium, like so like on the 4th floor we could see the third base line.
Oh really?
We could see A-Rod on third base and the Empire. And so like I thought he loved baseball and like he just was not with it.
It's like, nah.
You know? I was like, whatever.
What's he into though? He's like into art or something?
Mechanical engineering.
Oh, that's cool.
Like he loves like building stuff.
Oh,
and
nice.
Like, you know, for a moment he got really good at video games and now he's like, he likes working with his hands. He wants to do like aerospace engineering.
Oh, that's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
That's cool. And so when you got out, was there any, like, obviously the temptation is always there where you're like, yo, I'd seen, you know, all the money I made before. There's guys, you know, that are probably still on the corner, still making crazy money. Like, was there any temptation to be like, yo, let me check that out?
No.
You were changed.
I was totally like convinced that if I trust the process, that things will work out. And I already had this mentality for Calm Body. And I literally started the next day. Like I came home, woke up, went to the park and started training. And then I started seeing people in my neighborhood. I'm like, yo, I'm doing this boot camp out here. Like the next day. And just kept doing it every day.
Nonstop.
2.5 years in the park.
Rain or shine.
Rain, shine.
Snow.
Motherfuckers is not showing up except for me. You know, like I'm out there twice a day.
You still did it.
Twice a day, every day.
Not even making money from it, just doing it.
Just doing it. Yeah,
wow.
I started making, my first sale was like by mistake a little bit. Like I made a couple, but $20, $30, but like my first like real sale, I made like $200. And it was like this like dude. So I took a piece of pipe and we stuck it between fences, me and my boy Pilo, and we were like doing pull-up bar training and stuff like that. And so I had that pipe like set, like I put a sticker on that pipe, and I was there twice a day. And so I was training my mom, I was training my neighbor, I was training like a couple other people. It was like 3 people out there. And this white dude comes up and runs up to the bar and like tries to do a chin up. And I was like, yo, that's my fucking bar. You got to pay me for that shit. I was joking around. But it's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't mean to interrupt. I was like, yo, you got to come join the session now. So he's like, all right, can I work out? I was like, go ahead. And he was like, yo, so how much is the sessions? And I had no concept of like, I was like, it's like 200. He's like, a month for like semi-private sessions? And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, that's a great deal. And I'm like,
fuck.
Yeah.
I should have charged more.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah. We train here twice a day, blah, blah, blah. You know, if you want to do this, like, let's go get the money. So I literally walked the ATM to him, got $200 and like.
Bro, you're a hustler through and through. Like, that never leaves.
And I gave him my card and texted him, and that was it.
And then now you're like, all right, $200 a month.
Yeah.
Let's get 10 more.
Yeah.
Let's get 20 more.
Yeah.
And then literally just started leveling up.
Yeah.
And what year is that roughly?
It's 2013.
So 2013.
2013. Yeah.
And then at what point do you actually get a facility?
2015.
Okay, so pretty quick.
Yeah,
you do that for like, 2 years.
Yeah. The end of 2015, like 2.5 years, and then we opened up January 2016.
Damn.
And like nobody wanted to rent to me, like because of my criminal record. Like
right.
I had to like check that box all the fucking time.
Did you try getting regular jobs?
I tried getting regular jobs. I had jobs like where I was working like as a illegal immigrant basically. It was crazy. Like nobody wanted to hire me, so.
Which is so annoying because you're sitting here being like, yo, I'm smarter than you motherfuckers. And
I didn't. For me, it was not even like I was not. And that mindset never came to me. It was just like I just want a job.
Yeah.
Like my mom was charging me like $200 a month for the couch.
Damn.
You know, like I was renting the couch from her at that time, and I was doing like housekeeping work. And so my uncle had like housekeeping work at a hotel nearby, and he was basically paying me $8 an hour while he was making like $16 an hour. He was not doing shit, and I'm doing the fucking work. I'm working off the books. And so I just kept doing that and doing training, and then I did an internship where I was helping people with their resumes, and I really wanted a desk job, like because I had a little bit of technical skills, and I told them I know how to do like presentations, spreadsheets, all that shit. I had no fucking idea what the fuck Microsoft Suite was, you know?
Yeah, you didn't even know what iPhone was.
Yeah, and I was like literally taking like, I would come home and like be on my brother's laptop and like do like the typing test tape, because I was like typing like this at work, you know? And I was like, boom. And so he taught me how to do spreadsheets, you know, he got into finance and just got in it.
And then the spot that you opened up, where'd you open it?
On the same corner where I sold drugs at, got locked up at in the first time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, Broome and Eldridge. It was a Buddhist temple in the basement, and and so I found a Craigslist offering, a listing, and I went to check it out. And that spot, I called the broker. The broker spoke to the landlord. And the broker was trying to convince the landlord not to rent to me because of my criminal record, and what I was trying to do a prison style boot camp with ex-cons in a fucking room, you know, like, and so the landlords called me and was like, I believe in second chances, and she gave me a chance, and there was like a big Buddha statue on the first floor of the temple, and like we're in the basement playing like DMX, and like people are worshiping, and you just hear like,
X gon' give it to you. What a hood. That's crazy. And then you literally like buying like the gate of the prison, like from eBay, and like putting it in and like building out the whole brand of it. That
became so there was clients that I was getting, a lot of white women with yoga pants that I was trading at the time, and one worked at PR, and she was like, oh, I love your story, I want to write up a story. And she did a story on Well and Good. It blew me up, and she wrote like, you know, she asked me, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to open up my own studio. I had no idea I was going to open up like a studio that looked like a jail. You know? It's like, I want to put a jail cell, I want to have like 5-minute showers, I want to put mugshot gates, I want to do this and that, like we get into the branding, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, awesome. And she published it. And then I was like, fuck, she put it out there, and now I got to do it. You know, like, I was
just bullshitting.
Yeah, I was just like, just freestyle, just kept talking shit, you know, and now it's real. And so the time came and I did it.
Crazy. And then now you have the one spot, and the goal is like, yo, keep franchising.
Franchising. One thing that we're doing that's huge is we're going inside Rikers Island. We're going into the juvenile facilities, training the inmates in there, getting them trained so we can give them a pathway when they come out.
That's sick.
I've been able to hire over 70 people coming out of the prison system. We still have a 0 recidivism rate.
Wow.
Nobody has gone back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it a little tough, like, that you are hiring like former incarcerated, like vetting them? Because there are obviously some incarcerated people that might not be fit for it.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard. You know, and it is what it is. You know, in the beginning, I was just like, I'm gonna hire you as a trainer, and that was it. You know, and then they started facing like parole issues, and I'm like, I gotta help them and then the housing issues.
Right.
At one point, I had like 4 air mattresses in the in the basement, like, because my staff was all homeless.
Wow.
You know, so I'm like waking up at 5 a.m., deflating it at 5:30, like starting class at 6 a.m., you know, and like bringing peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to the gym to feed everybody.
Wow.
Like, And this shit's all documented. Like, we have a huge documentary that's coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with a 4-time Academy Award. She's been following me around for 8 years. 8.5 years now.
Oh, wow. When is that going to drop?
Should be this year.
That's great, bro.
6-part docuseries.
That's great. And then when did the
and
book
Derek is in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah,
man.
shout out to Derek. He's one of
he
the best comedians I know.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
So that was actually the first time that not the first time, I heard about it through Wheezy first, and then I went and saw a show there. Max and Derek were doing a show, and I was like, oh, this place is sick. And then I literally like looked it up, and I was like, watched the Vice documentary, and I was like, bro, I got it, like, this is insane. And it's like, it's just cool to like hear the whole story, like see the whole arc and the full circle moment of getting caught in the corner to opening up a business to then helping people that were incarcerated, but like really being about the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like at this point, it's interesting. I'm curious what your perspective on this is. Like, as your focus isn't only money, like obviously you're running a business, but the focus before was just money. Who gives a fuck? But now it's like, yo, let's create a product that really helps people, changes people's lives, both clients and trainers. Are you finding that the emotional benefit is actually greater than the pursuit of money?
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing is like I go and I put my head down and I'm just working. But then sometimes like I get stopped by one of my trainers or I get a text message and they're like, yo, I appreciate the fuck out of you. Like, I got my own place. I got my family. I'm supporting. Like, I'm good right now, you know, because you. And I wouldn't realize that because I'm just going.
Right.
But those moments, like, I feel like, you know, my heart fills up. You know? It hasn't been easy at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's 10 years I've been doing this.
Yeah. But it's cool to see the fruits of it and that it's so positive. Yeah. And that, I don't know, that's from the Bible. You'll know a tree by its fruits. Yeah. And like, it seems like a different tree than, you know, the tree we were talking about before.
And the documentary, I haven't seen it. I don't know what she took from it, but like she's not only like did me, but like she followed the people that I hired and them going off to their own journeys and starting their own companies, or they're starting to work somewhere else. And like, so I'm very interested in like seeing, even though I keep in touch with almost everybody, like I'm very interested to see like where's everybody at, you know, and how everybody's doing. So it's like it became like a web of
course, and it cycles positively in the way that the web cycle negatively. Now you got this positive web that's creating positive change without you even knowing it, and you're gonna be able to see it. And one day, like 30 years from now, you're gonna meet some kid that's like, bro, you hired my dad, and he like. You got to take us on trips and like crazy. Changed my life because he was gonna go back to the fucking crack game, but he had a way out, and it's because of you.
It's crazy.
It's gonna be wild.
Yeah, now I'm selling weed.
Oh yeah. So what's Combat?
I mean, it's just it's a matrix, right? Like, so I got locked up for selling weed. I did time for it, and now like out, you know, getting a license for it. So like New York State is allowing people that been done time for cannabis, been convicted for it, and then also have a net profitable business for at least 2 years. There's not many people that came home and started a business after doing time for weed, you know? So like, it's a very small pool of us, and I got the opportunity to launch a new brand a couple years ago now, like called Conbud, on Instagram, Conbud NY, but like, I want to hire people that have been just as impacted by the war on drugs to sell drugs legally. Yeah. And I look at weed as like a plant, you know, like we're not putting any chemicals in it. Like it's from the ground. It's a blessing, you know.
It's literally medicine. Like hella people literally need it to like sleep, for chronic pain. Like even if you just want to like chill after work,
relax,
like,
just take a breather.
Yeah, exactly. And it's is it frustrating to you, or was it frustrating to you, like thinking about all the people that are still in prison for weed, and then it's like, oh, but now the state can make money on it. Yeah.
Well, the state doesn't have any more people in prison for cannabis.
In New York or federally?
In New York, Federally, yes.
Right.
So federal prisons in New York, there are individuals that have
Gotcha.
Cannabis charges, but in the state, they completely legalized it. They opened up the keys to
And they
the
expunged
gate,
all
and they
those old
expunged
records and shit.
everybody's old record.
That's great.
Yeah. The majority of people's.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people probably doing multiple shit. It's like weed and
Yeah.
crack or something.
Yeah.
But that's cool though. That's cool.
Yeah.
And it must be weird for you to walk around like this area now, and like everything's nice. Everyone's smoking weed.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yo, bro, the other
What?
day I saw this fucking white dude just go up to a cop and was like, where do I go? And like he has a joint in his hand, and I'm like, bro, hide that shit. Like that shit would have been in my ass right now, you know? In my prison pocket.
Bro, those are cops. He's literally wearing a whole hat. You're like,
yo, what the fuck? It's just is wild to me to see, like, and I think a lot of these kids take it for granted, you know,
Yeah.
like they didn't grow up being, you know, these early 20-year-olds or whatever, like they never had to face the prohibition of cannabis.
Yeah, of
or
course.
had to hide it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great story, and I think it's a cool arc, and the circle is just insane.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see it franchise out and get
Yeah,
more.
I'm working on franchises like now.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting, like it's a whole government thing. You have to wait for the government to approve your franchise, to
Right.
close your documents. It's a
Paperwork
lot
bullshit.
of lawyer shit.
Yeah.
Been working on it for like 8 months.
But I could see this in like Miami go crazy. I could see it in
Yeah.
like a lot of the big cities just
I
being
got over
like,
90 franchise requests.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
After Ellen.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
right. That's right.
It's crazy. So many people hit me up.
I mean, that's amazing, bro. I'm excited for you.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Thank you.
Your story is seriously like it makes me like it's like I get emotional thinking about like this kid that had nothing, tried to like business savvy, got into the wrong shit, and then turned it around.
Thank you.
And then the religious element of it is cool. Are you still going to church? You still praying?
I pray, but I don't go to church.
Yeah.
You know?
But you're still in the Bible though.
Yeah, I teach on Sundays.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I teach. That's the day I teach classes, and I tell people when they come to my classes, I'm like, when I beat the fuck out of you and they're on the floor, and I'm like, you look like you're in a praying position. I'm like, Jesus is not here to save you. I'm fucking you up.
Yeah,
This
that's
is a
your
new
church. That's your church, man. Coss, I appreciate you, bro.
No,
Thank you so much
you,
for
bro.
coming through, man.
Appreciate
This was
you.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.